Open bar, dude!
It's open bar. It's open bar. It's open bar. A night in with Mauler and the drinker, getting trashed with the web screen dinkers. A cheap night cause I'm feeling kinda thrifty, got a 10-pack of beers and a bottle of whiskey. Hop off the cork, have a glass of wine. I feel safe, I'll be fine. Trouble walking in a straight line, but pour me a Pinot Noir. It's open bar with our hosts, Mauler and the critical drinker.
All right, Merry Christmas, you magnificent bastards. Damn, I love that intro. It's the Drinker here, and I'm here for open bar number 7, and we've got an absolutely packed lineup tonight. We've got the Mauler, the long man himself. We've got Fringy from EFAP. We've got Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, Gary from Nerdrotic, and Yellowflash Comics making his debut on this channel. So we've got some great stuff to talk about tonight. We've got, the highs of Spider-Man and the lows of The Matrix 4. So let's kick things off. I'm going to bring my co-host Mauler in. Hello, sir.
Oh, hello there. Yeah, are you drunk? You sound like you drink Christmas. What are you doing?
Getting into the Christmas spirit, you know what I mean? You've just got to do it.
It's completely appropriate. Hello. Oh my God, what a time to be alive, where you can go from being impressed and enjoying and clapping, woohoo, all the way to, wow, I want to die.
It's the best of times and it's the worst of times, truly.
You and I saw The Matrix around at the same time. We both, well, this will be perfect. We barely talked about it at all. So everyone, we'll be doing that today.
Oh yeah, we'll be talking about The Matrix, man. Believe me, there's a lot to say there.
Plenty to talk about. Good to be here. Hey,
should we bring in our first guest?
Let's do it.
All right, so this is his debut on the drunk streams. So hello, Fringy.
Hey, what's up?
To be,
there was just a slight hint of drunkenness there.
Well, it's more like tiredness equivalent of drunkenness, which I guess is nearly the same, because if you haven't slept well, I'm pretty sure that's like a lack of sleep is low-level brain damage. So in a certain sense, it's like kind of being drunk.
Yeah, I would say so. It definitely impairs your ability to think clearly. So yeah,
And
we're probably on equal footing because I'm not tired, but I am drunk. So
yeah, fair enough.
It should even out.
Of drunk is just to get tired.
Yeah. But yeah, it's good to have you on the stream for the first time, man. So thank you for joining us. Hopefully, we'll have some good chats about Spider-Man. I know you haven't seen The Matrix, but I know
that's okay. I've heard.
He got a plot summary.
Yeah. We can fill you in a little bit on the details. We've also got Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. Hello, sir.
Hello. It is great to be here. I think Hollywood, they really know what they're doing, because they said, wait a minute, those angry YouTubers, they can't be praising Spider-Man No Way Home. Let's throw resurrections at them because, as Thanos said, it's perfectly balanced, because there's no way we can let them be positive. But yes, go ahead, Mahler.
I was going to say, I think it's funnier than that, Jeremy. I think it's the No Way Home gets all this appreciation. Matrix was like, oh yeah, you're liking that? Check out ours. And then everyone goes, oh
man,
we did the same thing. We got, look, it's Neo. Look, it's Morpheus.
Yeah, remember Neo? Remember the training sequence? Like, remember this? Oh Christ!
Why are you guys paying millions for hours?
It's so bad. But yes, thank you, Drinker, for the invite. Always happy to be here. Always happy to share the panel with you, fine gentlemen.
Awesome, man. All right, we've also got Gary Nerdrotic. Hello, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me on. What's up, guys?
It's always a pleasure to have you on, man.
To talk about The Matrix.
Having ourselves a rowdy chill. It's like a nice
that was good. That was necessary.
We were an event. We were almost there, right? We could have ended the year on a high and been like, yeah, Spider-Man was great. This is a nice way to close out 2021. And then, The Matrix came along.
You got to get one last kick to the testicles, all right? End the year on a high note.
Yep. Now we got to do this. And
you remember Agent Smith? Look at him now. Look at him.
God.
I think my favorite moment of just where he just screams, Mr. Anderson.
Yeah.
Me
Really?
and Rags watched it. Were baffled. We were just like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
He regained his Mr. Smithness once he picked up a gun. That was what unlocked the Mr. Smithness. It was like, what is this cringe? Like,
It
who
wasn't
wrote
just any gun though, Muller. It was Desert Eagle.
Ooh.
Yeah, see, remember Desert Eagles? Those really impractical sidearms that the agents use? Yeah, just them.
Man, that was such a great detail. They paid so much attention to the originals. It's almost like they put the originals in the film. That's how much attention to detail there is.
Yeah. Oh, man. And last but very much not least is Yellowflash Comics making, again, his debut on my stream as well. Hello, man. It's great for you to join us tonight.
Awesome. Glad to be here with such great toxic men.
Yeah.
Looking forward to talk about one of the best movies of the year and probably the worst movie of the year.
I mean, that's some pretty stiff competition, man.
Very stiff competition.
I don't know. That Matrix movie, that's one of the worst things I think I've ever watched, at least in a long time. It was so bad.
I'm inclined to agree. It was fucking horrendous.
It was just, I didn't even feel, you know, when you watch The Last Jedi, you get angry, you know, because it's like, oh, they're really destroying everything. With this, I was just kind of amused. It's like, oh, bless them. Look what they're trying to do here.
Yeah.
It's again with No Way Home coming out, and we're not saying that film doesn't have some decent criticisms you can place against it. When we're talking about the nostalgia and how the nostalgia was intertwined to that story, then you watch The Matrix. You're like, my God, they missed it so bad. And they leaned completely on the fact that, hey, remember this? We're going to show you these movies that you did like to show you how bad of a job we're going to do on this one, and then we're going to tell you how meta we are, because that was their whole message.
Oh man, they were jerking themselves off throughout that film. How meta they were.
Actually intercutting little scenes from the originals as well. Like, Jesus Christ,
what kind of decision is that?
Genuinely inept filmmaking that we've gotten past like decades ago. You don't do that. You don't go, hey, Trinity's looking back at me as she exits the room. Remember when she did that in the films before? Let's play the clip where she does that. You're like, what are you doing?
Now that it does feel like an extra level of like, it's not even like when they do a flashback of like, hey, do you remember this important thing? It's like, hey, do you remember this better film? Like,
yeah, it's like the first time Neo walks into his boss's office in this, like he's standing by the window and just goes, billions of people just living out their lives. And then it just flashes to the scene with Smith in the first movie. Like, are you really doing this to us? Really?
Holy fucking shit.
Honestly, like Fringy, you're just gonna be sitting through this. Like, the more we describe, the more incredulous you're gonna be. But
yeah, you're like, there's no way this movie could be this way. It's like it's 1-to-1 with what we're saying.
I do feel like we should start on a slightly more optimistic note that the Spider-Man is currently crushing everything that the MCU has put out in the past year.
I think
there's 750 million already.
That's honestly very
800. So 815 after today's updated numbers.
Seriously,
what did Endgame? Endgame was their highest grossing movie, right?
Yes.
What was that?
It was over 3 billion, right?
Endgame was
2.5, I think. Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I don't think it broke 3.
What about after re-release?
I think it's over 2.5 because if I'm not mistaken, Avatar was at 2.7 and it beat Avatar. I don't think it quite broke 3, but it might have.
Well,
it's close.
So I think what happened was it beat out Avatar, but then Avatar had a theatrical re-release, and then Avatar got back in front.
Yeah, so
they did get back.
Apparently, Endgame's at 2.79 billion.
Oh, okay, that's higher than I thought. Wow, jeez.
Yeah.
This film, I'm pretty sure, has beat out Infinity War's gross so far in terms of like.
That's incredible, honestly.
And this is during a pandemic as well.
Yeah, it truly is.
That's the interesting thing is I remember when Shang-Chi came out and then it made something like 450 million. It's like, oh well, that's a success, right? That's like
Triumph.
Pandemic times. It's hard. Well,
Triumph.
Yeah. And I looked at that and it's like, oh, okay, MCU's fine then. But now this film has made so much money that it's like, they're probably having conversations, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Well, it's on.
Want to hit.
On one hand, the MCU is fine because of something like this, but on the other hand, Fucking
Yeah.
hell, your other heroes need to make some money. Like they're not.
Yeah.
Who cares
This,
about
this
them?
isn't an MCU movie as well. Like the bulk of the
No,
money's going
yeah.
to go to Sony.
It's
Yeah.
it's the number one Hollywood title in a week. It's been out a week, and it's now the number one title of
Well,
2021.
Well,
We
you know
were
what's
talking
awesome?
about how-
It's on track to earn more money than all the other Phase 4 movies combined
It's
by the time it
insane.
gets to
Yeah.
the end of its run.
That's
We were
insane.
talking
It's
about
for
how it
sure
might-
gonna have legs for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we were
'Cause,
talking
I
about how it
mean-
might clear 1 billion. It's like it's definitely clearing
It's
1
definitely
billion.
clearing
Yeah.
1 billion.
Oh, yeah,
It might
easily.
clear 2. It might clear 2, and that's
Yeah.
crazy.
With some countries closed down, it still might clear too.
Yeah, because it hasn't even released in China yet, has it? And it's like, god
No.
damn.
There's still like I think the Andre from Midnight's Edge said it hasn't even opened up there yet.
Yeah, they've got a while yet.
So there's still a couple of countries where it's going to come out.
But,
So
but
many
it did it
people
the
are
right way.
recommending it. The word of mouth advertising for this is through the roof.
And
Yes.
rewatches as well. I think a lot
Yes.
of people are probably going to rewatch this, whereas like I don't know how many people rewatch Shang-Chi. Like I'm not sure.
Why the fuck would they do
Well,
that?
I don't know why you would either. But like, that's annoying. I guess
Well,
I-
I mean, but
I-
they did it the right way. I mean, we've seen so many films that have spoiled the best moments in the trailers, and we got to experience the best moments when we saw the movie. And
In the
because
cinema,
now,
yeah.
and they did a perfect job of marketing this movie and giving you enough to tease you. And then, of course, John Campea came in and ruined everything for everyone. But But
Oh,
in
yeah.
terms of their marketing of it, they did such a fantastic job because when I experienced those moments in the watching the movie with everyone else, that's something that you're not going to forget. That's a moment that you're not going to forget. And I think
Oh,
they did a great job of not only the marketing, but then once we'll get into more of the details of how they intertwined all of this and how each one of the characters, it was just perfectly done from that perspective. When you get past the first 45 minutes, everything else is pretty great.
Being in a
Yeah.
theater for that movie was like what a fun blockbuster movie like that should be. Like the crowd was so energetic. I can't remember
Yeah.
maybe Endgame, like when Captain America picked up Thor's hammer. I think that
Yeah,
was the last time.
yeah.
That is honestly my reference too. Andrew Garfield arriving got a similar
That
reaction
got a-
to
Yeah.
Cap
Yeah.
holding
And-
Mjolnir.
And this is the thing, like in the UK, you don't get much audience reaction in cinemas. Like it's all terribly polite and restrained. You'll get a little, it's not like American cinemas, but even with that, when Andrew Garfield appeared, when Tobey Maguire appeared, yeah, there was like a proper cheer going up.
And when the
it's
three of
just-
them ran off the scaffolding and did their web swing as a group,
Oh,
that was a pretty
That was awesome.
that was pretty surreal, honestly. Like when
Yeah,
I
it
saw that
was.
moment, it was like, holy shit! Like this is actually happening.
This
Yeah.
It's
this
so cool.
this movie was like the benchmark for how you bring back like legacy characters in a
Absolutely,
respectful way.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, the
You know,
self-awareness, I mean, the self-awareness of, and I've talked about this, Tobey Maguire is my favorite Spider-Man, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire was exactly how he was perceived in the movie, exactly how the fans perceive him. He was kind of the elder statesman. He was the wiser one, the OG of sorts. And then Andrew Garfield was the guy that needed to be redeemed, and they owned it. And he, within his character, understood the perception of his character. And then Tobey understood that from his character perspective. And then now you walk away going, Andrew Garfield was the best part of the movie, and he needed that. But you still appreciate Tom Holland with all of this too, because they kind of still gave, ownership of Spider-Man over to Tom. It was beautiful how they did it. It was beautiful.
To balance it between those three guys, and like you say, it was always unquestionably Tom's movie. Like he's the core of the story, but they gave both of the other guys enough time, just enough of an arc each, enough great little emotional moments and callbacks to just make it really, you really appreciated them. You could really enjoy them while they were there, but they didn't overshadow Tom. They all kind of built upon each other rather than competing against each other. And I thought that was brilliant.
Dare I say they showed restraint for what they could have done. And if you guys want to see what happens when you have no restraint, we'll be talking about that a little bit later.
Exactly. The chemistry was so good too, and that's something you couldn't have predicted. And I think a lot of that had to do with they were just happy to be there, right? So there was and that showed through the screen, and yeah, it was great seeing that many people just together enjoying something. for once. And this is going to be something Hollywood can look back at for the next couple of years. And if you want to make billions, that's how you do it. And they'll completely ignore it. They'll just think it's an anomaly.
I think they're going to misunderstand it. I think that because you look at like Doctor Strange, right? Isn't the running idea with those reshoots is that they're going to add in more cameos and like more people from other franchises? Like, no.
Yeah, you're going to see all the X-Men from Fox in it. Exactly. You're going to see. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Blade, Wesley Snipes show up. Like they're going to throw everything.
Man, I would pay for that. I would love to see Wesley Snipes be Blade again.
Though, isn't it?
Oh, like, I'd rather see him come back than that movie, the PG-13 Blade they have in this coming out. That's going to be horrible.
I think that's my concern though, is that I think they're going to look. I think people are going to look at Spider-Man. It's like, so it's just bring back the old characters. That's how you make money. It's like, well, no, wait, hold on. Like they brought them back meaningfully and in a respectful way. Like, you got to actually do some work. You can't just bring them back. It's like, nope, just bring them back. Bring them all back. We got enough money that we can get everybody back. And that's all that we want, to just see people as opposed to watching characters on screen interacting with each other in a story. So I get a bit worried, honestly, like that this is going to set a bad precedent.
Should be very worried considering they brought one of those characters back in an episode of a show last night and they destroyed him in a matter of minutes. So
I'm looking forward to watching that.
Talk about Kingpin, by the way. So that's I wouldn't be excited about if you're a Daredevil fan, get ready to cringe because it's not going to be good. But you're right, like they were all part of the story, even though they weren't in the whole thing. The three Spider-Man, plus we're talking about Spider-Man, of course, the most popular character in the world. And, Tobey Maguire, the most popular Spider-Man out there. And now Sony holds all the cards. They don't need Marvel. They could bring I don't know why they wouldn't bring them back. There's going to be a billion reasons to bring them back.
Well, at the very least, I think this could open the door for Andrew Garfield getting a third movie. I think his popularity is high. They obviously left his trilogy unfinished. There was clearly plans for a third film, and so you could quite easily work him in now post this movie. Going back to his own universe and stuff.
I'm sure Paul Giamatti can't wait to reprise his role as the Rhino.
I love that fucking line where he's like, I fought a crazy Russian guy in a rhino suit.
But on the Andrew Garfield point, I mean, I have been really critical of him. I did not watch The Amazing Spider-Man 2 because I hated the first one so much.
You're not missing much.
And so I've been very critical of his Spider-Man, and this movie made me realize that I was wrong. It wasn't him. It was the writing of his character. Yeah, it was not his fault. And so if you can win me over, and I was one of the more harsher critics of him, it obviously satisfied the Garfield fan base, but it's just that this movie accomplished so much. And I do think that it probably created some insecurities for Tom Holland, like just as an actor to go, man, I haven't had one Spider-Man movie on my own yet. They always pull Iron Man in or more Spider-Man, but I thought Tom Holland came away looking really good, but I'm sure he kind of like personally just goes, man, they want Toby, they want Andrew, but I think Tom Holland walked away looking good too.
I think so. Yeah, this is the first movie where I really cared about him, and I was, really invested in him. I was really invested in his relationship with MJ because for the first time she acts like an actual human and not a fucking Martian, and so all of those things together just created a story that I was really invested in, and I just I haven't had that up until now, I guess.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. It's been it was so nice to see like dudes fighting dudes. I'll just come out and say it. It's like, it feels like it's been forever.
It took me a while to think about this, actually. Yeah, like when I look at the cast and the characters that are in it and what they do, it kind of is a really male-dominated movie. Like, you've only really got Aunt May and MJ.
And they killed it.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. I mean, that is obviously her major role, but like MJ doesn't do a huge amount in this film in terms of driving the plot or anything. She's not in it that much. And so it's really down to the three Spider-Men, and all the antagonists are male.
They made up for it by giving Aunt May Uncle Ben's line.
Yeah.
Which I'm okay with, because there's no Uncle Ben equivalent otherwise in this. And so I'm fine with her kind of earning that, I think, after 3 movies.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
okay with
I
it. I mean, I was
thought it
never
was
okay with her as Aunt May to begin with, but after 3 movies, you just got to accept it. She is Aunt May, and it worked within the context of this individual movie because I didn't like Homecoming or what's the other one? Far From Home.
Far from home, yeah.
I didn't like either one of those movies. I liked
liked
Tom Holland.
Homecoming.
Okay,
I didn't
Yeah.
like Far From Home. I don't like Spider-Man outside of New York City. I think he works
Yeah.
better in the city.
I liked Homecoming more than I like Far From Home.
Homecoming had some good stuff, like Michael Keaton. I thought was great in it.
It was a
Had
good
that really
exactly.
iconic.
Yeah, I thought he was a good villain.
Yeah,
Had that
don't hate
iconic scene
Homecoming.
where he has to lift that equipment off him from the comics. That was a really cool moment.
Yeah,
So
I don't
maybe-
hate
oh,
Homecoming. The first time
Maybe
I saw
this
it,
is a
I kind of liked it, but the more I thought about it. Go ahead, Fringy, though.
Oh, I was just gonna. Maybe it's a hot take because I like all of the films.
No, they know that you and I are the odd ones
Yeah.
out here.
I half
I'm gonna
agree
mute
with you guys.
now.
Well, yeah, I mean, because I Far From Home has a lot of problems. I mean, but admittedly, I think Homecoming might be the strongest film of the 3. As like I guess when you think about like the multiverse stuff and the spells and like Doctor Strange in this film, like all of those things kind of weigh it down. Whereas like Homecoming is like a really solid, pretty small story. But I mean, overall, I don't have the perspective that they like had a heel turn with this film and that they realized that they'd made a mistake and they needed to fix it. I think that even though Far From like No Way Home was probably not the film that they were going to do originally, I do think that they stuck to like a core idea of this is like an origin trilogy, and this is about this version of Peter having the lesson instilled through a variety of different circumstances to like at this point he is now definitely like Spider-Man.
Kind of like
no more
kinda
Iron
like
Boy
what they did
or
with
anything like that.
Superman
You know, it's
in the
Spider-Man now.
Snyder Cut. Kind of like what they did with Superman in the Snyder Cut.
Well,
Very similar.
that's
Very similar.
I maybe that's
retroactively getting
maybe
to
that
a
was what
certain
they were
place
going for. I don't know.
backwards, kind of doing his, like, well, you had to kill somebody to learn not to kill. That.
Look, Gary, I see where you're coming from, but I
Yeah.
feel like Superman shouldn't have had to have learned that destroying the embryos was a bad
was a
move.
bad idea.
I love the I love the beauty of our conversations when we're talking Homecoming.
I like the final movie of both of those things, and I don't like the buildups that much of either of them. So there you go. But they end up in the same place. You end up with a Superman and a Spider-Man. That's where it ends. So debate away.
Superman was like a demon in the Snyder film.
Spider-Man was
so
a
many
baby.
evil things, and he was scary.
I'll
I
take
didn't
a
like
baby over a demon. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I did not like the Snyder Cut's the best of the 3, but I don't like any of those movies. But I don't like the Snyderverse in any way, shape, or form. So, but I love how me and Mahler disagree so much on Homecoming, yet we're brought back together on the Snyder Cut, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Uniting people in their hatred.
Well, we'll all be united by Matrix soon enough. So.
I think so, yeah. No, it's interesting though. Like I think it would be interesting to go back now and rewatch Homecoming and Far From Home in light of this movie, because, like you were saying, it does really recontextualize it as an origin trilogy for this version of Spider-Man, and it's kind of interesting to look at from that point of view. Yeah, I still feel like Far From Home could have been avoided. Like, you don't really need that. You could just do Homecoming and this, and that would give you your origin. But you kind of always get that with an in-between kind of movie.
I would agree that Far From Home is weaker than the other two for sure, because like I think Far From Home has a lot of, like, in terms of plot, it's like Far From Home and No Way Home have a lot of problems, but Far From Home has like more character payoffs and bigger character payoffs.
I get, yeah. I mean, I always got the theme of, this trilogy of basically Peter learning to be his own man and stand on his own 2 feet. Like in the first movie, he's got Tony as his mentor. Then he's got Mysterio, and then this time around, he's kind of got the other 2 Spider-Men to learn from. And then, like, he's got Aunt May, loses Aunt May, and so he loses all of those things. He has to let all of those things go and stand on his own 2 feet by the end. So it's kind of a thing of him always having a mentor and losing that mentor, and then having to move past it.
which is interesting to me is it sort of spot patterns, right? Because like in Homecoming, the first 2/3, I think the first third is like Iron Man's a safety net. Second third is chastising him and saying, "You're done. I'm taking the suit back." And third is he has to do it without Iron Man. Second film, he not only has to do the third without Mysterio's help, but he's against Mysterio. He has to fight him and beat him. And then the third film, all of his safety nets are removed, every single one, including just relationships that he has. So I don't know. I've seen that it feels like they've just been building up to like it's been the same thing has been happening just on lower degrees of stakes. Because this, I think it is. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the most any Spider-Man's ever lost in the movies, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
I mean, he's lost his so like whether it's his Uncle Ben or Aunt May, so that's okay, a close
He's
family
lost
member.
his identity, like
But
his
he
whole
lost
life.
everything.
He's lost MJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he lost
His
everything. He
friends,
lost his best
connections
friend.
to the Avengers. It's all
Yeah,
gone.
all of the Avengers, the world's knowledge of his good work is gone.
Is gone.
Yeah. Which I think is great. That's why I love it so much. It's like
Yeah,
real, like
choice.
long-term consequences for him. It's great.
That's how it started out in the comic books. So
Yeah.
he never got credit. He was always considered a villain. And his own aunt gets mad, doesn't like Spider-Man. I mean, that's the Spider-Man that everybody read for decades. Never was part of a team. Had a hard time the whole time, lost. And then it happened again when he loses Gwen Stacy. And then, it's a long time till he's with Mary Jane after that. A long time. So,
well, you hated the
that was a problem I had with the Marvel movies is because he was always taking his mask off. Like he always pulls that close to
They
his
all
chest.
do it.
That's an
Yeah.
MCU problem. We got to
Well,
see the actor's
but
faces.
even
We
in-
can't have him in costume. It's
I
lame.
even had those problems in Spider-Man 2, though. Like, and I love Spider-Man 2, but he takes his mask off a lot in that movie too.
Yeah, way too much.
So,
Got to see their face.
yeah.
It's
I
like,
I
as
hate
soon
it.
as he meets Captain Marvel in the
Everyone's like,
he's like, I'm Peter Parker. Like, what? You've never even met her
Careful,
before.
Yeah.
I was just thinking actually, like, imagine the fucking catastrophic disaster if Captain Marvel had shown up in this movie.
Oh god!
I'd just be like, "Oh, you boys need to stop fighting. I'm gonna fix everything." Like, no.
Damn it, Drinker! We've
Marvel-
already had the Matrix screw us up. Don't bring that into our heads
Dude,
too.
Kevin Feige probably
What might have been.
probably sent him a note saying, "What about Captain Marvel making a cameo?"
I'm gonna ask this though because I picked this up in my review. Right, the first two Spider-Man movies really felt like MCU movies. They had all the hallmarks. They really felt like the dialogue, everything was MCU. This one doesn't. And
I'd say the first
don't you
45
feel
minutes do feel like an MCU movie, and then once Doc Ock shows up, it completely moves away from feeling like an MCU movie, and it feels like a Spider-Man movie from that point forward. That's how I've viewed it.
Yeah,
Like those opening things with the jokes and the interactions and the plot conveniences and the like it felt MCU until that bridge scene, and then the tone completely shifted at that point for me.
Well, to be fair, when you
Yeah.
guys hear jokes you enjoy, does that cancel it out being MCU humor? Because you kind of associate MCU humor now with just shitty jokes as well.
Well, I don't consider that. I consider MCU jokes with things that deviate from a serious moment. That's what happens
Right.
in MCU movies. So like MCU always has these really powerful moments, and then suddenly a joke gets thrown in there, and suddenly you're like, what the fuck? You've completely thrown
yeah,
that
yeah.
moment off. That
100%
happens
right.
so
Yeah.
much. That happens so much, and it drives me crazy. And that even happened in the beginning of this movie, where you just have like a moment that kind of feels like there's some tension, and then there's this whimsical jokes all of a sudden, and it just completely throws off the tone that was set. So when I say MCU jokes, that's what I mean by that is they throw the tone of the moment off a lot.
I think you're thinking about the joke quota as well, like where you can tell it's like, it's been too long, get a joke in there, make people smile, it's getting too heavy. Throwing a
Yeah,
joke.
which Flash felt like that in this film.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yep.
like that was his whole job. He just turns up whenever there's not been a joke for long enough.
Flash is terrible.
Well, I think
terrible.
Mueller and I thought they might be doing
The
something
worst
with
Flash
in
in
terms
all
of
of
his
them.
backstory, but they
Well, yeah,
didn't
because
do anything.
Far From Home drops hints that he has a troubled life at home, that his parents don't love him, and that he desperately looks for attention, like through little things. But this film like just left it out.
Yeah, they should have never put him in. And that's what they did. Essentially, they are, they're not going to bring in a Flash Thompson. I don't even know where they go from here, because they could end it. They could start anew. He could go back to see if the fake MJ can remember him or not. there are options. And then he came out with his contract negotiations, and he's all, well, maybe I'm done with Spider-Man.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Sound
effect for that.
I mean, here's the thought though, in terms of, because now we've got like a reset where he's on his own and he has no connections and he's on his own. Like, could this be the opportunity to, you know, have him become like the mentor character where other people start coming in? Like, you know, you could have like Gwen Stacy and then maybe have her be like, you know, like Ghost Spider, and then it's like, well, I don't want to have relationships with people who I think I'm going to put in danger. What happens if someone comes into my life who is like on my level in terms of power? Like, would that change the dynamic? Or you know, have Miles Morales come in and then mentor him?
He's obviously on the way.
Oh, yeah.
Probably
There was a total fucking hint there from Electro, wasn't there? I know there's a black Spider-Man out there somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in a perfect world,
the way that's Miles Morales.
Miles Morales.
Careful now, you're going to get videos calling you a bigot if you don't know that he's Spider-Man.
I'm fine with them having him, but I'm just glad he wasn't in this movie. That would have been too crowded. There was just far too much.
I think
they will do
for him soon, with him being like mentored by Peter. That just feels like a really logical next step.
I think they will for sure do an actual Spider-Verse movie with a ton of different characters after this makes whatever the amount of money.
All of the money.
Yeah. It just would make sense. So you probably see Miles come in, Spider-Gwen, I would think.
See, I'm fine with Miles. Spider-Gwen's lame as
She's terrible.
She's fucking terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I really like this Into the Spider-Verse a lot. I think it's a really good movie.
Yeah,
I enjoy it a lot. But I mean, in a perfect world, what we would see from this point forward is that Tom Holland starts out as your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and he goes through the actual elements of becoming Peter Parker and Spider-Man, the one that we all know and love. And then you can evolve it from there into the second and third movie into whatever it wants to be. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think MCU is going to stay involved.
They really started him in a weird way just by throwing him in the midst of the Avengers, and you know, suddenly he's fighting all these really high powered characters, and then he's on like alien planets and shit. Like that's really, I don't know, man. I'm not an expert in the comics, but that really doesn't feel like what Spider-Man should be doing.
Yeah, but that's what the MCU was doing though at the time.
The MCU
either we don't. You could choose not to bring him if you want, but everyone wants to see Spider-Man.
Yeah,
everybody wanted him. Everybody was.
That's why they throw him in every crossover event now, because
and that's probably what the future of the Spider-Man franchise is.
Problem, the blip. Okay, so we're gonna mix in the blip with now everybody just forgot who Spider-Man is, and there's certain things that I probably haven't even gotten to yet that's gonna be a conflict with something that happened in the past. And we just through Hawkeye, we saw somebody disappear and then reappear again, the same way they did in WandaVision. And what happens is nobody knows they died. They just felt like Yelena goes to the bathroom, and she just felt like she went to the bathroom, and she walks out. And then there's the house where, I won't say what she was doing, but she walks into a family. Like there's a family sitting in a house. She's like, what the hell? So it doesn't show that they died. And that's important because, well, then how did everybody blip back who was in a plane? And this is serious shit. That like they're not
if you're in a car.
There would be death everywhere. And bringing.
I never thought about that. Actually, just bodies raining out of the sky. Like what the fuck?
It's a
huge problem with Endgame. It's what sucks about Endgame in a lot of ways.
Yeah, Endgame is fucked. That film is really bad.
And
planets move too, by the way. So
I think Spider-Man is great in isolation. I think the film is great in isolation. I almost would be okay if they just fucking left it alone. Like
what an interesting place that we've arrived at. When when Amazing Spider-Man 2 come out, it's like, man, he's not like part of the MCU. That's really lame. And now at this point, it's like, it's, you know, you can just sit in your own little corner of the MCU.
Yeah, stay away from the MCU. They're weird people over there.
Yeah. What a crazy turnaround.
The MCU was this cool table with all these people on it, and then a few of them were like, I'm going home, see you guys. And then some weird freaks arrived at the table.
That sounds like an allegory for Hollywood and a lot of things that have happened lately.
It's like, Spider-Man, get out of it.
It feels like
Save
Spider-Man
yourself.
Just like Black Widow got choked out by Yelena and then tossed to the side. It's like, hey, I'm here now, and
I'm Black Widow now.
Like me. It's like, you know what? I'm pretty full up. I'm tired. I want to go to bed. So I'll see you guys later. All right.
Falcon steals the shield and is like, "I'm the captain
John
now."
Walker's arm to steal it from him. Look at me. I'm the
This whole thing now, like they refer to like Steve Rogers as Captain Rogers. They never call him Captain America anymore. Just got to make that little psychological break in your minds there.
He's done. We're moving on.
We got a new Captain America, a better one.
Yeah. You got to do better.
He can fly. Of
You need to
course.
do better.
That is a line which is going to live in infamy for the rest of the MCU.
It's a fucking stain on the MCU. Like
Marky, now I'm getting upset. Just thinking
I mean,
about
even by the time that was made, like the whole "you have to do better" thing was already a meme, and so the fact that they embraced it as a serious line just fucking blows me away.
Well, it's just funny because that speech is meant to be like, see, look at how great this speech is. It's like, dude, it's childish. Like, it's actually childish.
It's essentially a toddler having a tantrum and being like, I have no clue what's going on here and I don't have any experience, but I want you to fix this problem.
But I'm right, damn it.
Yeah.
I'm right. I don't have the answers. What don't I know? I'm a black man in the Stars and Stripes. Do better.
Wouldn't it have been such a better arc for him as a character to have eventually realized that, hey, real world problems are much more complicated and subtle, and there's much more nuance to it, and you can't just blunder in there and demand that people fix them, and you can't punch your way out of it. It requires a bit more negotiation. But nah, he has to just go in and give his fucking self-aggrandizing speech.
They didn't have to
utter
ruin him
nonsense.
Either. Like, he was a character. He didn't have much to do like in the films, but like there was something you could do there. And they blew it. Like, I don't know what else to say. They blew it.
Telling you, man, John Walker did nothing wrong.
John Walker's close to the Captain America.
He's my Captain America.
That show sucks. Just make sure we got that out there.
This is the thing, right? We've been bombarded with so much garbage from the MCU over the past year that this movie was just an absolute eye-opener. It's like, oh yeah, I'd almost forgotten superhero movies can be really good.
Yeah,
they can be fun and emotionally engaging.
And them talking to each other was more engaging than anything else.
That was top tier chemistry.
Oh, yeah.
with characters that wanted to be there, that were invested, with writers that understood the bigger picture. This is like, because bringing these three guys into this movie was bigger than the movie itself, and it needed to be understood, and they understood that, and all three of these guys understood the moment, and their chemistry was as good as I have seen.
It was amazing how great it was, the
That
dynamic between the three of them and how well they worked together. That could have been a disaster, but it turned into something so special. Because that scene where they're just talking, like when he cracks Toby's back and they're talking about villains that they fought, that was probably my favorite part of the entire movie.
Yeah,
I loved Tobey Maguire. Like, what's the Avengers? Is it a band? Are you in a band?
That was great.
I like Garfield's line about the youth pastor before that.
Yeah.
That was great.
That was so good, dude. That was so good.
I love when they're talking about the web slingers as well, because like Tobey Maguire can shoot them out of his body, and they're like, so how does that work? What does it feel like?
How are you breathing? It's like, does it come out of just your wrists, or does it come out of anywhere else, other places?
But it's great because at one point he touches it, like he gets it on him accidentally, and Tobey Maguire's like, "Oh, sorry," and he's like, "Ugh."
Yeah.
Oh man, so good. But that's what we need more of, man. We need more genuine moments like that, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Yes. Each other.
Yeah.
Like,
I tell you guys, like the fight between Tom Holland and Green Goblin right at the end,
brutal,
just a really stripped back kind of fight. Brilliant, because you know why it was good? There was emotional investment in it.
Yes,
these two guys wanted to fucking kill each other, and you absolutely understood why. There was so much meaning and purpose behind it. It was great. They didn't need them to be flying all over the place by that point. Just a grounded fight.
That was one of the best moments in the movie, where Toby steps in and stops that glider.
Oh,
he's about to kill him, and just stares at him like that. Was such a.
Well, I think we asked this. Yeah, I
Honestly.
think
It was
we asked
beautiful.
this.
It was
I
beautiful.
think Gary asked this on Friday Night Tights. I think, but like, how many of you guys thought he was dead? Because I thought he was
Yep.
dead.
Yeah,
I
you
thought
know,
Toby
you
was
could
dead.
tell. I guarantee you, on the cutting room floor, there's a part of the movie where
Yes.
Toby dies,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think,
and
I
they
think
probably
played with
reshot that because testing audiences hated it.
Hated it.
And yeah,
I
and they
think
brought him back,
this is
'cause I
the
thought he
thing
was
though.
dead.
If he had died, I think it would have fit with
It'd have been
the
a
arc
great
of his
death.
character. You know,
Yeah.
It
like
would have been great.
sacrificing his life to save his worst enemy. Like what an
That's something
incredible.
Spider-Man
while
would do.
while passing that instills a lesson into Tom Holland hardcore
Yeah.
at that
Yes,
point.
yes. Damn, I'm getting chills just thinking about that shit.
Well,
That's actually great. Like, that's fantastic.
They might have
Um,
spared him because they
I
were
was
like,
gonna
"Well,
say
no,
it.
we want to make sure we can bring him back." But ultimately, you can bring him back even if you do kill him because
As we've
multiverse.
seen.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, there'd be new timelines now for sure. The
They have to
with-
be. Yeah.
Norman Osborn going back fixed that would for sure create a new timeline.
Well,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
does. It does. Those aren't the exact characters from the movies. That's what they said. They said they're alike but similar, and they kept it kind of vague. And I think that's as good as it'll get. And it works for me. It totally works.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah,
Like in that for that particular thing. There's other things in the movie that don't line up, but like it's
Yeah.
my God, was it fun? All right,
It was fun. It was fun. I'm gonna go see it again Saturday with my
yeah, I
kid.
really want to go. And that's another thing. This is one of the few times I actually want to go back and watch a movie in the theaters. It's such a rare thing that I want to do that. In this movie, I wanted to go see it again after I saw it.
Yeah.
You don't want to go see Matrix again?
I watched that on HBO Max, and I'm glad I did.
I saw
I watched it. Yar. But yeah, that was enough for me, man.
Dude, I when I finished it with Rags, I said I want my time back. Like that was rude. You just took all of my time for no fucking reason at all.
2 hours of my life, and I
did
want
that-
it
I did that-
back.
I did that
Oh, what am
meetup
I
view
gonna go
party.
miss him anyway?
I did that meetup view party, and I think at the theater, 25 people showed up, and some few extra people bought some tickets. Then like 30 of us congregated at this bar afterwards, and all we did was talk about that movie for 4 hours. Like that's how fucking psyched people were about the movie. So it was supposed to be like, and like my goodbye to San Diego. I didn't give a shit about that. I just want to talk about Spider-Man with a bunch of nerds for 4 hours, and it was great.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's the way it should be.
Yeah.
And it kind of does all set that narrative where everybody just all these people are just pushing negativity, and it's like, no, it's just a lot of negativity out there to talk about. When something's good, it brings fans together. And this does remind me of, things pre, I guess 2015-ish, like when we had a lot of stuff out there that a lot of people really enjoyed, and it didn't have messaging, just like you guys are talking about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that dialogue versus the dialogue we got in No Way Home. It's just you can't even describe how different they are.
No one's telling you how to do anything. Everyone is just being themselves and talking to each other with their motivation being in universe. It is very, very fun to watch, as opposed to being reminded about how you can't call her a terrorist. She's only using terror to try and change
political systems.
Hey, I mean, this movie, and someone said it in the chat. I'm not sure who said it. One of your mods said it, Drinker, but this movie made Zendaya likable. That's an accomplishment of its own, right there. She was great.
She's great.
I connected. Yeah. I cared about hers and Peter's relationship. I cared about the dynamic. I was emotionally invested in all those things because she wasn't dismissive of him or arrogant or cocky like she has been in the other movies. She was like, there was genuine, like you could feel their relationship. It worked. I cared about it. And towards the end with that end scene, which was fan-fucking-tastic with him in the shop there.
That was paying respects to that first Raimi movie.
Yep, and the backdrop of the snow falling and just Tom Holland's delivery and all of that worked because the journey that got us there throughout the movie. I was just blown away by all of that.
It's softened me towards her as an actress because I think maybe they gave her really shit direction in the first couple of movies, and like you say, they kind of had her act as this prickly, arrogant, condescending kind of character, and it always got my back up whenever she was on screen. But this time she's just much more normal. She just comes across as someone, she's his girlfriend. She cares about him. She wants to help him. She's invested in his problems. And it was great. Like when she's allowed to just do that, totally fine, and she's perfectly fine in the role. And by the end, I really felt bad for them that they got split up like that.
Yeah. And it was real, and that was such a good decision at the end to walk away. That could have been your, it's not equal to it, but your death of Tobey Maguire was Tom Holland Spider-Man walking away from happiness, and she would have been pissed. She wanted him to come back, and he still said nah, because he saw how just like lackadaisical and happy they were. Then they wouldn't have to worry about all the Spider-Man stuff, and they would constantly be in danger. And that was the Peter Parker thing to do at the end.
It's an incredibly meaningful choice because he is turning away from the thing that he specifically. The whole plot was kicked into motion because he was trying to preserve this life, like his personal life, to be willing to then at the end of the film walk away from it. It's like, right, so that's just good old-fashioned character arc right there, full circle.
It felt to me like he had done that over and over again in all three of these movies, trying to make it work, trying to make it work. And he's finally like, no, the way to make it work is to keep them safe, keep them away from
him. Yep. If you love something, you'll let them go. This is an oldie but a goodie.
And I also love the fact that he ditched the fucking Tony Stark Spider-Man suit and just went back to the classic one by the end. It's like, you don't need all that technology. You don't need that crap. Like, you're not meant to be that.
Yeah. In Spider Sense, you got the tingle. I don't like how they call it the tingle.
Feels
what
like
I liked about it, feels like
call it the tingle.
It feels like his suit was he got inspired by Toby and Andrew's suits, and that's how he came up with that. I thought that was kind of.
Well, I think that they were looking for a reason to have it become that, but beyond, he just did it, And I think that's a really cool reason that he thought those two were awesome, and so he's inspired a suit from them.
That's great. I love it.
Yeah. God,
go watch it.
It's just like everyone's just loving the movie.
Yep.
I have nothing really bad to say about it. Like,
it
was a great time. Well, there's nitpicks for sure in any movie, but I had so much fun watching that movie.
Same here. Yeah.
We've said it before.
Fringy said that. Fringy was like, "Oh, I do."
Well, problems.
Jerry, like we do love the movie, but like Doctor Strange is ruined beyond repair.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh well, he's not even the Sorcerer Supreme anymore.
Well, it's not that. It's just he's an idiot.
He's a fucking moron in it. Like an moron. Yeah, let the kids go fix interdimensional creatures.
Yeah,
people without powers. Go Scooby Doo this shit. Oh, fuck. That was
I think because they already had a solution in that Peter traps him in the mirror dimension for a good portion of the movie. So you could have just done that earlier and removed him from play before he could interfere too much. And you've cut out some of those problems there.
You need the drama of him saying to Peter that I'm going to kill them once they're collected, right? So we got to get that happening first. I see what you mean, though. Like, if we can get Doc Strange out, we talked to Gary about this so many fucking times on Real BBC, but just making him Mephisto would have solved so many problems because you could just have him be trapped somewhere. Mephisto's been fucking with everybody, and then you have the devil deal at the end of the film where he's like, "Oh, I'll give you back everything you want, but no one's allowed to know who you are anymore."
Yeah.
And then Doctor Strange comes back and it's like, dude, what the hell is going on? Like, what's happening? I've been dealing with all these problems.
You could have had the end credits scene being Wong finding Doctor Strange, and then that begins Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah. And that way it means that we don't have Doctor Strange making all of these incredibly stupid decisions.
Exactly.
And it not being in character. We have a Doctor Strange who maybe he would have made the same decisions in terms of like, these guys got to die. Like, that's just, we got to abide by the rules. But the fact that he would just so flippantly do this spell without telling me anything about it.
Entire will is how he
just for fun.
Yeah, because he's like, wow, Peter, you did this before calling admissions. It's like, you did this before anything. You just did it.
You didn't ask for anything.
Yeah.
You brought him down here and then dispel.
Well, that's where I was saying with the MCU stuff. That's why, like, that first 45 minutes really felt like a lot of. That's where it felt like an MCU movie for me. But as soon as Doc Ock showed up, it shifted. It doesn't mean that it alleviates those problems and they don't exist. Just from a feel and a standpoint, that's where it shifted for me.
Well, I mean, I would say that my perspective on this film was kind of similar to the Suicide Squad in terms of like the plot has a lot of problems, but like the character work is great, and that's pushing us in a good direction. Like, it kind of almost balances it out. It's like, yeah, the plot sucks, and it sucks that Doctor Strange was ruined, but like, if this film doesn't exist without him getting destroyed, it's like, well, that's a trade I could take, honestly.
And I still think we should count our lucky stars we got this. I don't even know.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Agreed.
It could have been
If
so
it was better
much
than
weird.
it should have been. It probably should have been, yeah.
On the other hand, we could have got the Matrix Resurrections, in which case...
Are we segueing? Is that what's happening?
I think we can segue, yeah. I mean, I'm happy to keep talking about Spider-Man all night, man, but I think
I'm ready. I'm ready when you are.
This could be a thing that's probably worth addressing, I guess. God damn, that movie sucked.
It's so fucking bad. I went back and watched the first Matrix last night after watching it just to, I guess, cleanse my palate, I guess. Like, in the first Matrix is so fucking good still. It still holds up so damn good. And it just made it even worse. I didn't think you could make the Resurrections even worse. It's so convoluted. It's so messy. It's way too self-aware because, again, like anything, everything's good in moderation. Self-awareness is really good in movies when you know how to sprinkle in it. This movie's so self-aware to the point where it's beyond cringe that they're arrogant with their self-awareness. And the decision to bring Morpheus but not have Lawrence Fishburne, and the decision to have Agent Smith not played by Hugo
Smith.
Here's what pisses me off as well, right? When you try to simultaneously like bring in all these references and scenes and moments from the original movie, right? And almost make fun of it, like, haha, we're so self-aware that we're doing this. But no, you're also seriously doing this to, one, eat up screen time, and two, just do the whole member berries thing. Like, oh yeah, remember this scene? This was cool, wasn't it? Well, we're doing it again. Aren't you entertained just like you were last time? Yeah. You can't do them both at the same time. And this is because it does it all the fucking time throughout the movie.
I was like lost at the beginning when it was like recreating the opening of The Matrix for a while. Like, it just kept going, and then it was like they were watching it, and she was like, "Oh, this is a thing that Trinity did." And I was like, "What are we? What are we
why
doing?
was that even? Why is that just some limbo thing in the Matrix? I didn't get what was going on.
This was a weird thing that Neo had created, like, and left it running. It was like in a pocket dimension of the Matrix, so you could run some of the elements from it. But it's really just an excuse to have that scene in there.
Yeah.
Oh god, it was confusing to like understand where we were at anymore. I don't know what the Matrix even is in that world. All I know is that a whole bunch of people in the city were turned into zombies and started getting murdered en masse.
None of them can shoot either. I don't.
No,
I've
nobody
never
can shoot in
seen
the
so
whole
many
movie.
guns unload and hit nothing. The action scene. How do you make even the second movie was shit, but it had a great action scene at the end. The action scenes in this movie were all awful.
Yeah,
awful.
The fight choreography was fucked in this, and I guess part of it is like, well, Keanu Reeves is 20 years older now, and he's a bit slower, so he can't do those really quick kung fu moves like he did first time around. But they just look so slow and clumsy now.
I mean, in the first movie, again, just recently watching it, I mean, it changed action movies. It changed Hollywood. It was unbelievable. And yeah, that's the standard that has been established within this universe and this brand of movie. And this, to me, and like I said, it feels like a generic, almost like a fan film for Matrix. It felt like a generic sci-fi movie that was trying to show you clips of the Matrix to make you remember the Matrix. It didn't feel like a Matrix movie at all.
Remember how great Matrix was?
Yeah, exactly. And Keanu didn't even seem like he wanted to be there. And
nobody did.
Nobody did. But Keanu's going to be the standout. So even he didn't seem like he wanted to be there, which was very distracting.
Yeah, it's everyone's just kind of bored, and I don't. The whole thing just felt like a piece of fan fiction that someone wrote. Like someone who was bummed out that Neo and Trinity got killed at the end of the last movie. And they're like, no, I want them back. And I want them to be cool. And I want Trinity to be the one. So there's two ones now. So there's two.
Two ones.
So that she can fly. And that's what you get. They fucking both fly off into the sunset at the end. And they got the flappy capes and the fucking sunglasses. It's so
cheesy.
Cheap. It's so contrived.
Yeah.
It's so shit.
I mean, and I've discussed this a few times, but I mean, I don't consider the film overly woke or anything like that. I just consider it terribly written and terribly put together. I mean, even with that scene with Trinity and everything, like Neo was still, he wasn't Jake Skywalker. You know,
No.
he wasn't Jake from The Last Jedi, but there clearly was. It just was clearly it was a problem from the beginning in terms of just the entire story, the entire execution of the story, and the understanding of it just didn't work. But I don't consider wokeness being the problem with this movie. There were
Yeah, it just was a
more
bad
problems.
movie.
I
The
think
editor
we're-
should be fired for sure.
Yeah.
What a terrible.
Yeah.
I feel
I
like there's
just-
an hour and a half of this movie sitting somewhere that they just cut off. And
I just like when I heard about this, I was just unconvinced about why we needed a fourth Matrix movie. And having seen it, I still don't fucking understand why we needed this movie. And I don't think
Money.
the
We need to make
Wachowskis
money.
understood why we needed this movie.
the goal.
Yeah, like they made a sequel to
money
a
they're not
franchise
going
that's
to make.
famous for having unnecessary sequels.
Yeah.
And they tried to make
This movie's
that,
gonna get. This movie's gonna die at the box office, and it deserves it.
already did. I mean, that's already happened.
Yeah, it only made 6 million opening day, I think. In
Well,
the
that's
United
guys.
States.
Guys, it's
Whoa.
because there's a pandemic. Clearly, movies can't make money at the box office because of the
Omicron.
It's
pandemic.
really awkward. 'Cause
Please
I saw
be
somebody
fair.
Say that. I saw
There's a
someone say that
picture
on
going
Twitter,
around.
like,
The piracy's not going to help it. There's a picture going around where it's all the piracy options. It's like you can get it in 1080i.
Oh yeah.
1080p,
Like there.
720p,
Well, I mean,
4K.
I'm not going to say too much, but I've heard that there's really good quality like pirated versions out there that
Oh,
you can
it's
get
all-
very easily.
Streaming on HBO, so yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not
they've,
sure.
they've given up on that. That ain't happening next year.
I don't
They,
care if
they're
someone
done.
hands you an HD copy pirated. Don't fucking
Yeah,
watch
don't
it.
watch
it's not
it.
worth it.
Awful.
Yeah.
Remember,
You
your
get-
time is valuable, people.
Yes, it is.
You,
Yes,
you
it
can
is.
never get that time back. It's Hans Moleman.
I did find myself like, you know, looking at my watch, just like how is this still going? Like
That's a great sign, isn't it?
I can't believe it took a whole hour to even have some plot. Like the rest of it was just like establishing stuff. But it was all shitty stuff and then
So-
references
Closer
everywhere.
look is going to hate it then because it doesn't. The first act break isn't 12% of the way through the movie, right?
A reference only you and I will get. But
Wow.
still
Maybe some people in chat.
yes. Yeah, baffling structure to this movie.
and I hate the replacements that they've brought in for existing characters. Like we've got a new Morpheus, we've got a new Agent Smith.
Man, a new Agent Smith.
Oh,
like,
thank goodness.
God damn, like
Who
Hugo
doesn't-
Weaving, and you
He
doesn't-
follow him up.
This guy
Jeez.
doesn't look or sound anything like Agent Smith either.
Dude,
like he's just a
Hugo
completely different
Weaving's
character.
Hugo Weaving's Agent Smith is one of the most iconic characters
Yep.
that's not a main
Yeah.
character. Like he was so iconic, and for them to misunderstand that, yet try to be super self-aware and everything else in this movie just shows the problem with this movie. Don't call him Agent Smith. Call him something else, but don't call him Agent Smith. I saw Nina Infinity in chat. She said that both Hugo and I know Lawrence Fishburne wanted to be in this movie. I don't know about Hugo, but she said both wanted to be back.
Why would you not bring Hugo? What?
I don't know. I don't know. I have no
Especially when
idea.
you could just. I mean, he's a program, so you wouldn't even have to explain the age. He's just back.
Yeah. You
Last
know?
time I looked into it, it was because he had a scheduling conflict, and they just said "fuck him" and carried on.
And really,
Yeah, like-
Well, they made so many smart
decisions.
decisions in this film, so I'm sure they.
Well, like, thank goodness that the replacement actor is so intimidating. It's like,
Yeah.
fuck,
You don't sound convinced of that.
he was
Muse.
absolutely worthless. Like, he had no presence at all.
Kind
And
of
as
like
soon as he
all of
shouted-
the new human characters. Can
As
anybody
soon as-
tell me
yeah,
anything
yeah.
about them?
Oh,
Blue
dude,
hair.
compare the
One's
crews
got blue
of
hair.
One
compare
was
the crews of whatever this ship
Maybe two.
is to the why am I forgetting its name?
The Nebuchadnezzar.
Nebuchadnezzar, that's it, yeah. Compare those crews, like the personality of all the different characters, and a lot of the time, you know, like Mouse, he was like the dude who was a little bit more cautious and careful and unconfident, but he also made the redhead. Like it was just cool little bits, and then his death is like pretty tragic, but he goes out with like a huge bang. Then you have someone like
Switch.
Dozer and Tank, like I don't know. It's almost hard to explain how much more that sticks to my memory. All of those characters, Cypher, obviously.
They had character. They all looked very distinct for a start. The actors were really good, and they were each just given a little bit of time to get you familiar with them. But with this, you're not even really introduced to them until like halfway through the movie, and then they don't get more than a few seconds each. And
I
that's
feel like
it.
I know
And
more about the robot that was on the ship than any of those characters.
They get the round table like introduction. I don't remember any of their names.
Yeah.
I remember Bugs, and that's it.
Yeah.
And Bugs is kind of your main character, essentially. That's the
one of
girl
them-
with the blue hair.
One
For
of them
some reason.
shaves one side, and then the other one has the right side
Yeah,
shaved. and
Gary.
then one had both sides shaves. And one
Did you
was-
like? Do you like the girl with hair that looked like several creatures were attacking it?
Yeah, what the fuck?
What the hell
That's going to
is
take
that?
you hours to style that shit every day.
It looked like motor oil was dripping down her face or something. I don't know what was going on there.
I thought it was really funny that she had the shaved hair in blue, and I was like, "Oh fuck! I hope that's just her Matrix hair." Then you go to the real world, and it's all the same except it's not blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess Zion doesn't have color dye, but they can still get your side shave going. Of course,
Mhm.
everyone
Oh,
got
what a-
that side shave.
I do think that there is some poetic justice with the fact that Spider-Man comes out and does it this way, and then immediately here comes Matrix and literally does the exact opposite.
You know what the vibe I got from it was Dark Fate. In
Yeah.
it's we're gonna take a lot of the same elements, we're just gonna transpose it into a different reality. So instead of like Skynet, you've now got fucking Legion or whatever.
What a terrible name.
Instead of was that yeah.
This is
Instead of
terrible.
John Connor, now we've got fucking diverse space Jesus or whatever that's going to be the new savior of humanity. Danny, that was her name.
Is it Danny? Fucking hell, I don't remember.
What do we
Yeah.
think about the Last Jedi comparisons that are out there? Obviously, we know Neo's
Well,
not.
they're
Jake
both
Skywalker,
trash. So
But they
I
are.
think
But
I think the stronger comparison is The Force Awakens, not TLJ.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point. That's a good point. I do think that there's something to the fact of, and again, by going back and watching the first Matrix after seeing this, it does seem to strip away everything that made the Matrix great. Even from an aesthetic standpoint, like the color of the film doesn't even look like Matrix.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
You
Yep.
know,
You've lost the
doesn't-
green.
right.
So-
and so go ahead, Molly.
Well, so I was just going to say, quick to add to what you're saying, like the guidebook on how to destroy franchises with new efforts. Force Awakens practically wrote the book on this, but it's
Mhm.
like, first of all, make the victory not worth it. Like it didn't work out. Turns out their piece didn't last. You're like, thank you. What else are you supposed to do? Take the main character and diminish them in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, you know, Neo, he's not the one without Trinity.
Well,
Them
there you go.
together-
Fucking John McTiernan's got it right there.
Exactly. Like I do feel like this hit the beats that Force Awakens did, which was it took the victory from our heroes and it made Han Solo a deadbeat dad. It's like it did kind of do those things.
And I think to your point, we are all a lot more aware of this now post The Force Awakens versus back then. A lot of us weren't exactly seeing this template for what it was until The Last Jedi opened our eyes to The Force Awakens. A lot of us, I know a lot of people were,
Yeah.
aware of The Force Awakens. I was not until The Last Jedi showed me. But now we see this with the Matrix. Like, we've seen this way too many times.
Yeah.
So I think a
Yeah,
lot
get
of
the
us are a
fuck
lot
out of
more.
here.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
Don't make money. Go away. Never again.
yeah.
The other thing as well is like the thing that really defined the first Matrix was how cool and unique and innovative it was. Everything from the outfits to the gunplay to the kung fu to like just the casting, it was all great. And it was also new. It's not the kind of movie that you can milk for nostalgia, because when you bring in nostalgia, you're bringing in that implication. Well, it's old now, but you remember it, and it's nice, and it's reassuring to get this old stuff back again. That's the exact opposite of what The Matrix was, and so fundamentally, it just feels like the exact wrong franchise to try and do this to.
It felt old. It felt middle-age Matrix. Or boomer Matrix, whatever. It felt as old as it was, as cool as it was 20 years ago. It's that uncool now.
Yes.
And they didn't even understand. Like they're like, we're gonna take the red pill back. They didn't even understand how to do that. They weren't even getting the phrases right.
Nope.
Did you get that really clunky dialogue from Bugs where she's like, well, I didn't want my sum total of my life experiences distilled down into a simple binary choice. Like, oh, fuck off, you
Yes.
pretentious
Okay,
little
you like-
arsehole.
It was super subtle with how Neo was living his everyday in the Matrix while taking a blue pill at the beginning of it. I was like, he's taking the blue pill. No, Neo, gotta take that red pill. I was like, why is there no subtlety in this film ever? Like with anything, and people like the Wachowskis were never subtle. It's like, are you kidding me? It was better than this.
Why did they give Morpheus the blue pill when they still needed him to do a bunch of like stuff? Because the red pill. Because the moment you take that, it starts to mess with you, and you start to like freak out and hallucinate and stuff. But they needed him to get from one place to another so they could extract him. But it's like, just fucking shove this in your gullet right now, and off you go.
Point.
And he's like staggering about like me on a Saturday night, and he's like laughing at his fellow agents and shit. And then they try and shoot him, and it's like, yeah, you didn't have to do all this. You could have avoided this shit. Just get him to a safe place. That's why they did it with Neo in the first movie. They got him to a safe house, gave him the choice, and then gave him the red pill.
Yep.
It's all just done in the service of like, wouldn't this be a funny little scene if we do this?
We can get a good joke out of it.
Yeah.
That's it, yeah. It's like, this isn't the kind of movie you should be joking around in. The Matrix was never known for its levity.
No, it wasn't. And it's just frustrating, but I think we all saw this one coming. So it's not like a lot of us were even disappointed by it, because I think we all saw we saw this one a mile away with this movie.
I didn't think it would be as bad as it was. It's really bad. I thought maybe, okay, it'll be all right or average, but man, they really almost like they wanted it to be this bad. I feel like you have to try to.
Gary said it. Gary said it. We're waiting for the article, just like the Cowboy Bebop, where we're like, well, we intended for this to be bad. It's supposed to be bad. I'm waiting for that article. I'm waiting for that.
I could see them doing that for the Matrix one. They'll be like, it was self-aware bad, idiots.
Yeah, my algorithm begs you to do it, please, because I will make a lot of please do that. Please.
How did you feel about like now Trinity getting elevated to the status of like the other one?
Yeah.
Because
in a current Hollywood, I hate it. In a just a genuine story, I really wouldn't have a problem with something like that, because they didn't, like, at the end of the day, Neo was still there too. And if you go back to the first one, there's that moment where she kisses him and it kind of revives him, and so it's kind of it's still a tie back to the universe. But in current Hollywood, when you see anything like this, you have to understand that they are eventually going to tear him down. That's the plan, even if it doesn't work within the context of what we saw. So that's where I have a problem with it.
I'm going to take a harsher position. I've always seen it as her believing he was the one is what helped him believe he was the one, because he was in love with her. And if you remember, the Oracle told her she won't be the one, but she will fall in love with him.
Yeah.
So I just feel like it's just retconning, because it's cooler to have a girl be the one as well. It's like,
she was never that character. She never needed to be elevated to that position. She was always important. She was always an anchor for Neo, but she didn't need to actually be the one as well, or like another one.
Remember, a lot of the drama in the second and third films are the fact that Neo can't be everywhere at once, and so Trinity and Morpheus have to actually battle their way out of different high-stakes situations, because they're just normal Matrix people. Whenever he's not around, they can't be fully protected. And I always enjoyed them for that. Like, I don't hate everything about the second and third films. And, I think it's Trinity and Morpheus have to deal with the Merovingians' ghost people. And, he has to, fight them both at the same time. If Neo was there, just fucking kill them both instantly.
That scene where he comes back, to come back to that real quick, where he's just screaming at them while they're fighting in that little warehouse. Did you guys all think that was cringy and awful?
Yes.
The whole film was cringy.
So much.
But that was like, I'm like, what is the point of this? I couldn't even understand what he was saying.
I don't think it mattered. See, the one thing when they announced Matrix 4, everybody went, "Oh, well, yeah, they're going to bring it back, and Trinity's going to be the one now." It was
just exactly what everybody thought.
That leaked right away. It leaked like a week after they announced it.
I mean,
it's not even like a leaky thing. It's just you assume that's what they'll do.
Yeah. I'll give them at least a degree of credit that they didn't destroy Neo in the process. It wasn't about we were wrong the whole time. It was never supposed to be Neo, and it was always meant to be Trinity.
What
Now
about the
it's all-
scene where he's standing behind her while she does all the beating to the machines, and he's just like approving of it because Neo's not doing it.
can't you
Yeah,
control
well,
her?
this is another fucking stupid thing where Neil Patrick Harris at the end where she starts beating the crap out of him, and he's like crying out in pain when she hits him.
He's a machine.
He's a machine. Yeah, he doesn't have fucking pain receptors. You can't physically hurt him. What the fuck's going on there? It's just so they could have that glorious moment of a woman beating him down and just teaching him a
Gotta teach those
lesson.
men.
Yep. 100%.
But I, and if I was to be charitable, I guess the message that they were trying to go for with this movie is like, well, it's not about like a man being the one or a woman being the one. They were trying to imply that, well, you kind of need them both working in harmony in order to like achieve your best result. That's why like it's always about the two of them being separated, and it's only when they come together that they're able to overcome the machines. It's pretty cliched, but like I'll at least give them credit for that. It's somewhat balanced.
All I know is Hugo Weaving and Lawrence Fishburne are smarter than everyone else in this movie, apparently, because they clearly didn't. even though they there was claim that they had interest, I'm sure that they're looking at it today going, yeah, I'm glad we didn't return for this shit
They
show.
gave Lawrence Fishburne an awful statue.
Yeah, it's made out of mud or something, isn't it?
One of the Wachowskis didn't show up too, so there was only one Wachowski there. So,
Well, yeah,
I'm
and
staying-
the other one
I'm staying
has
away from. I'm staying away from that topic.
the other Wachowski on their Twitter bio says something like, "I have nothing to do with the new Matrix film." It's like,
What?
Really?
yeah, like, it honestly seems a little bit resentful.
Well, I think that because they didn't both make it. It was just
Yeah. I'm assuming one of them deliberately was like, "I don't want another Matrix film."
Yeah, it was Lana who did this one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. Maybe the other one was responsible for making the original actually good. I don't know.
Maybe.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty. Funny.
Yeah, just before we carry on, I know that Jeremy's got to bounce. Unfortunately,
Yeah. I appreciate you having me on. I only had about 45 minutes, but the conversation was so good. I had to stay a little bit longer. So always happy to be on with you, gentlemen. Merry Christmas to everybody. Drinker, congratulations on 1 million again. I know we did that last time here, but you're killing it, brother. And I happy to talk to all of you guys. So I'll see you tomorrow for Friday Night Tights over on
yes,
Nerdrotic
everyone tune in
channel.
for
So,
Friday Night
yep.
Tights tomorrow night. I'm sure it's going to be awesome as always.
Yeah, we'll have a lot to talk about. Who's on, Gary?
it's a Gundam and this guy
This guy up top right there. Yeah, I'm sure he'll have a few things to say. So, but all right, thanks everybody. I don't want to interrupt the discussion, so continue. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
All right, thanks, man. Pleasure having you on.
Merry Christmas, dude.
All righty. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many times throughout this movie where I just find myself shaking my head like, oh, you just fucking done it again. It's just, like, so.
It's pretty well summarized by all Rag said once the credits were rolling was he needed a shower.
Yeah, I thankfully I got to watch this at home, and I don't know about you guys, but I drifted a couple of times. I'm like, what's going on Twitter right now?
Yeah, several times.
Yeah,
you know the scene where he first does like all the slow-mo bullshit and he's explaining how Neo and Trinity came about? That scene was like 10 hours long. He just kept talking about all of his plans and how he did everything. I was like, Jesus Christ, could you do this more? And to make it worse, Neo is slow motionally walking forward.
Yeah, and that's all.
Well, like Neo keeps trying to hit him, doesn't he? As he walks in front of him, you see Neo's hand just start to go towards him, and he's like, "Ooh, no, I don't
Did they think
so."
that was awesome? Did they think like, oh, this will be the new bullet time? It's like, no, it's just crap. We've seen this before. It's crap.
Yep.
It was all exposition, and then uninspiring action. They didn't do anything. Remember when the first one came out, like the whole wire thing and kung fu was still pretty popular. It was of its time, and they managed to integrate that into the story and made it like Matrix was one of the coolest movies ever made.
Yeah.
Oh shit, man. Yeah.
It was cool, and then. Like this one didn't even try to integrate anything new except for TikTok dialogue. It did a lot of that. But it was all exposition dump after exposition dump after exposition dump. My favorite one was the 2 back-to-back exposition dumps at the end. And then the general's all, we've got this crazy plan. And then they don't even tell you the plan. And then what the fuck? And I'm like, well, shit, you gave us everything else. Give us the plan. And then I didn't.
It's amazing.
Did you see that when they flew away in the ship, right? And the general is just stood there, and then her girlfriend comes and puts her arm around her, and you get the clunkiest fucking dialogue I've seen in ages, where she's like, "I think you're actually happy that they escaped because then you didn't have to make the decision for them." Oh, fuck off! Like that's just
Naomi is an idiot throughout the whole movie. Like every decision she makes is in opposition to all the characters' goals, and she's just there to be annoying.
Is it literally just the actress was available? So it's like, oh, fuck it. Like, she'll do it. Get her in old lady makeup and away she goes.
Yeah.
Convincing too.
By the way, you know that the core conceit of all of this is that there was a civil war over energy with the machines, and then apparently submachines joined.
I'd like to see that movie.
I didn't know. Like they were like, well, after that war happened, submachines were like defected to the human side or something. I don't know.
It's it's really fucking vague because there was like the peace between the humans and the machines. Then the humans started to rebel against the being in the Matrix, and so they run out of power, so they go to war with each other. And then some machines joined the humans for some reason, and now it's really unclear about what the situation is. Like, I guess the administrator is there to like bring up production again by using Neo and Trinity as super batteries or something.
Which is already like, well, okay. But the thing that lost me is like, they've got this whole building that they're housed in, and there's just millions of sentinels surrounding it. It's so hard to get in. The main room, they don't even have a motion sensor, a camera.
One
robot.
You would think that they would. I mean, just the Sentinel alone has like 500 eyes.
Yeah,
there's none.
This is like the breaker room on the Supremacy all over again, isn't it?
It's the thing they need for their society. Those two in the pods, but they don't have any protection on it. It's insane.
It's because Morpheus used to mop the floors in there, don't you know more?
When they're like, go pick up Trinity, and then they're like, no, we can't. Why? Well, because now that we've been there, they will have put it on lockdown. Like, why wasn't it already on lockdown? Like, what? It's your power source for the whole society. What are you talking about?
Yeah. The biggest problem I had with the Matrix sequels is I like when they were in the Matrix. I didn't give a crap about Zion and all the raves and all that garbage. It never went anywhere. And they never convinced me that the Matrix, I was like, I'd rather live in the Matrix than go rave in fucking Zion. Yeah.
Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, I'd rather be eating fake steak than that green or the white slop that they have to eat each day. Yeah, fuck that.
So they can eat strawberries now.
Yeah,
they can have strawberries.
And what did they do at the end of the one? The same fucking thing. And then it ended with a bad cover of the
I thought that was hilarious. They made sure to get a female cover too.
Yeah.
Did you catch that?
Against the Rage for the Machine, a cover for Rage for the Machine. The most corporate
with the strawberry thing, by the way, they didn't waste time establishing Io is better than Zion. They were like, Zion was like obsessed with war, but we like do food, and it's like obsessed with. They were under attack from the machines all the time.
It's not like they enjoyed war or anything. It's like essential.
You know why this is a hard sell now is, the machines were supposed to be the allegory for our system or whatever. And they are now. So they kind of get flipped when this was like a counterculture movie. And then now this is like corporate sponsored counterculture, hot topic counterculture. Like, blue hair is it's not interesting, cool, or edgy. It's a beige wall. It's like the modern equivalent of a beige wall. It just makes you roll your eyes. You take Jessica Henwick, who's like a reasonably attractive girl. You make her ugly as sin in this movie with this blue, oh my God, the SJW haircut.
It had to be blue.
It's like someone stuck a bird's nest on her head and spray painted it blue. It's a fucking mess.
This film's the equivalent, I guess, of like having a T-shirt that says "fuck merchandise." And
Yes.
they sell it to you, and you're like, okay.
A T-shirt. It's a Che Guevara T-shirt. That's what it is.
Yeah, fuck yeah. It's. Can someone please explain to me why Agent Smith is in this movie?
I have no idea. He bails them out in the third act. Somehow.
Yeah, there's no fucking reason for it. I don't even know how he got there. How did he survive or anything?
He should be destroyed. Because that's what he did in the third movie. He goes inside him and literally destroys his code. So, but he's back. I mean, okay. I mean, they don't. It's not like they explain anything in the movie, really, anyway. So,
well, they rebuilt Trinity and Neo.
yeah,
Like, machines came out and made new skin and new brains and everything and put them back together.
Yep. Give Neo new eyes.
Dude,
Expensive.
that's where we're at for so many franchises. At least the multiverse doesn't have to say we invented resurrection.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, you did.
That's what I'm
It's like, yep.
Honestly, man, this is what I was saying. It's like fucking fan fiction. If someone just like a teenager who's just wants to like tell their own Matrix story, like, oh, how can we put this right? They brought Neo and Trinity back to life. How? Don't know. They just rebuilt their bodies and then put them in the Matrix again. So it's the same shit all over again.
they can.
And then
It's like making their own T1000s or something, I guess.
yeah. And it's like, they reunite at the end and their love frees them. Like, blah.
Tom from Midnight's Edge made a good point. Can you name a good movie with resurrection in it? They're all awful movies.
Passion of the Christ. No. Resurrection in it. There's got to be a good one.
It's got to be, yeah.
Well,
I tried to
the
do a
concept
Google
of
search, and
resurrection.
most of them were all terrible.
Well,
There's
Lord of
like-
the Rings they don't say, because technically it's not resurrection in the books.
Yeah, because
you know?
Gandalf and White and the Grey are different people, aren't they? To a degree.
Yeah. So
Alien Resurrection, Halloween Resurrection.
oh no, none of those are good. None of those are good.
No.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't name too many good movies this year. Spider-Man No Way Home rounded up my top 5 of 5 movies I just liked this year.
I was surprised, Gary. You didn't include Dune in that.
You know what? Dune is Dune's fine. It's fine.
Dune's a movie.
It's a movie. It's a prologue. I don't know. I keep forgetting about Dune, but I wasn't like Dune's all right. You know,
I'm with you
again. Yeah.
Yeah, it was more just like I watched it and I was satisfied that they did a good job with it. I was never like really emotionally captivated by it. Whereas I compare that to my reaction to No Way Home, and it's completely different.
Oh, No Way Home got the blood pumping, man. Just seeing everybody doing their things.
I hate myself for saying that because it's like, well, I'm going for a superhero movie over like proper sci-fi, but then like I can only go by what effect it actually has on you.
Yep. Characters. It had good characters, and that's Dune's biggest flaw. It had some characters that were being built up at some point, but I don't know how like super likable they were. And
I'm telling you,
Mahler
characters
and
are like key for any project.
Yes, they can make me like something that's got the most convoluted, stupid ass plot if I've got characters that I give a crap about. Like I just talked about The Witcher. I know probably not too many people watched it, and it's got a lot of problems with character. Like you've got one really good one, and everybody else is kind of, I don't know.
I don't know how you made it to the second season. I thought the first season was boring.
The second season is not as good as the first. I like the first season. I gave it like 7 out of 10. It's definitely got problems, but they leaned into those problems in season 2. They decided to expand on them a little bit, which makes it worse.
One of the issues I had with season 1 was that it's really out of chronological order and it gets confusing as fuck. Like, do they do that with season 2 or is it
that's
linear?
That's the one thing I had the least problem with. It's linear and it's too like it is. The writers are more interested in everyone else except for Geralt. Geralt's like the least interesting character to the writers. So he's in it a little more, but he's babysitting the whole time. He's not fighting monsters and shit. So
would you recommend it though if you haven't watched any of it? Like, because I haven't watched any of it.
If you played the game, if you like Eskel, I wouldn't recommend seeing it because they fuck that character bad. They do him dirty. If you like season 1, I'd recommend seeing it. But if you haven't seen it at all and you're a fan of the game, that would be tough. You'd probably be damning my name if you saw it. So.
Well, I want to read the book because I have the first one and I didn't finish it. Good. But I'd like to read it because I always say good things about the book.
I like The Last Wish, the short stories one. I thought that one's really good.
think that's the one I've got. Hold on.
Yeah, and they do some stuff with that. I mean, yeah, it's you know what, Witcher has a lot of potential, and it could be great. They need a new showrunner. They need somebody who understands characters and structure.
Oh,
and,
they just need to understand the fundamentals of storytelling.
Yeah, basically. So we don't have things like, I mean, there's that constant over affirmation of a character, like you're amazing, you're extraordinary. We get that.
That is a trend that needs to fucking die.
That just feels to me like the writer is looking at me like, hey, they're pretty great, aren't they? It's like, oh, are they? Why do you need to tell me that?
I know there's a new theme. Like we have characters, you know, even in context of story, we have remember with the Matrix, it has to be Trinity's decision. It has
to. Dude, the line where they say the most important decision to be made in Neo's life is Trinity's. You're like, what?
Trinity's.
Why did you say it like that?
Why say it in that way? Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no, you know what pisses me off actually as well about that scene is there's no real indication of what turns her mind around on that one, because she initially said, "Nah, I'm not going to join you. I've got a family. I can't leave this place." And then she's walking away, and she just suddenly changes her mind. She's like, "No, I'm Trinity now. Fuck
Dude,
you."
you know,
starts beating up Chad.
You know, in the first movie when you have, Mr. Anderson like flee, run, blah, blah, and then he goes, I think he says like, "This is the end of the road," when he's got him at the tunnel, and he says, "My name is Neo," and smashes him into the thing and gets out of there. It's fucking awesome. Yeah. When she said, "My name is Trinity," and then hit him, I was just like, ooh, I don't
Yeah, because she gives like, well, there's a longer line that she gives where it's like, "Oh, stop calling me that. I hate that goddamn name."
Oh, that's really clunky. That's
yeah,
that is a clunky line. Damn. There is an art to writing dialogue.
But like,
I just love the bit as well where they're trying to like get to each other, and there's like an army of SWAT team guys holding them back, and they're both just screaming, going like, "Ah!" Like what is even happening here? What are you trying to represent?
That feels like screaming has now become a shorthand for like, see, it's emotional. It's like, I don't know how often people like scream, just scream for no reason.
There's a lot of screaming in the finale of this.
I almost screamed when I saw the mayor of San Francisco in a cameo in this fucking movie, and they filmed it during when they shut down all the business in the city, and this bitch was fucking pretending in a fucking movie. Yeah, that
feels a little
what scene was that?
Jesus.
At the end when they're at the climax in the fucking coffee shop, when Doogie Howser's sitting down, he's all, "I like tests," so they let all the people in. She walks right across the street, and I will never forget that bitch's face. So yeah, when I saw that, I messaged everybody. I was like, what the fuck? You know, so yeah, I could pull up the picture. I've got it. I saved it.
Just a memory forever.
Well, it's okay. She's allowed to work and do things. Just you plebs, you have to sit at home.
Just to double on the point about the whole, because they're supposed to be like the "My name is Neo," that reveal. That's how powerful it's supposed to be. When you spend the whole movie having Hugo Weaving, oh my god.
You know, it's weird. I remember seeing her just like, who the fuck is this? Why is she there? And like, she just doesn't look like an actor or anything.
Well, it's not like they explained any of the other characters very well, so they assumed that you would just be in for.
The Mr. Anderson Neo back to back is like obviously representative of the two worlds he's living in, and having Hugo Weaving deliver Mr. Anderson over and over and over and over again, which is practically iconic on its own, just that, and then to have him back like, "You're good, goodbye, Mr. Anderson," and then he says it. It's like, what the fuck do I draw as the through line for Trinity being like, "I am Trinity"? It reminded me of I Am All the Jedi. I'm just like, what is this?
You know what you could have done, right? And I'm not advocating for this, but if you wanted to build her up and make that final scene relevant, you would have shown the movie from her point of view.
Yeah.
Shown her living her like mundane life. Maybe Chad abuses her or something, and he's got her in some kind of like controlling relationship and making her feel like she's worthless or something. I don't know. so that final like turn against him actually means something. But as it stands, like I don't fucking know anything about her. I don't know what her life's like in the Matrix. I don't care.
Well, they treat it like Trinity is this character that we've all been begging to get back on screen, like a Jack Sparrow type or something. It was like, what do you? I mean, Trinity's fine. Like, I like Trinity, yeah, but you treat her like she's. Like
she was never a Messiah type character where she you know. She was actually the secret of the center of attention the whole time. She wasn't. She was just a love interest for Neo. She was his support, but she wasn't the core of the story.
Maybe Lana Wachowski it never sunk in that I know people were writing, and this is 20 years ago, writing that this was the next Star Wars. This was the next Star Wars, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen. It was one good movie, and it failed.
I would argue, Gary, that's because they didn't have an empire. If they had an empire, they might have gotten somewhere.
Absolutely, but it didn't happen, and maybe that just hasn't sunk in. And you're right, Drinker. It's like Trinity is not a character. It's like, God, I really want to see Trinity back on screen. I've never said that, never thought that, never cared in this movie throughout. And I think it was just there so she could beat up Chad. And I loved what she said about kids. They're exhausting. It's like, oh, great mom there. Okay. Awesome.
Maybe it's because I was programmed to want kids.
Well, yeah, there's that
line?
fucking really distasteful line where she's like, "Oh, that's what women are supposed to say, isn't it? Because that's what we're programmed to think."
There was two bits like that.
Yeah.
The one that really threw me for a loop was when Neil Patrick Harris was like, "Control your woman," and then she slapped him. I was like, "What the hell? What?"
Well, he said as well, like women used to be easier to control. Something along those lines.
So incredibly forced. Holy shit. Aha, the villain said that because it's a wrong thing to say. You're like, why would anyone say this right now? What the fuck?
King wanted us to watch it.
Like, you know, to obviously, like Jeremy was saying earlier, like I didn't get too much of a woke vibe from this movie. There's just little bits and pieces like that scattered throughout it, which are a little bit off.
Yeah,
and you could just feel like the writer projecting themselves into it.
It was too boring. It was too boring, and like there was so much dialogue that was just gobbledygook that I just got lost in it and didn't care.
And not one good action scene.
No,
which is what those movies are known for.
Yeah.
Yep.
You guys see
even the bat, like you could say what you want. Even the third one. I mean, I've got my problems with the third one, but that fight at the end between Neo and Smith is awesome.
And Neo doesn't pick up a gun the entire film. Somebody wanted to do that. Yeah.
You remember as well, like when Neo could stop bullets at the climax of the first movie, that was like a holy shit moment. Like, isn't this such a cool effect? Now it's like he does it every 5 minutes. It's like, oh, there's a chopper coming at me. I'll just stop all those bullets. And like, oh, there's another one from the other side. Like, shit, I got to do both. You know, it's straight out of a video game. That's all it is.
Because in that film, the structure makes everything so clear. We know that there exists this entity that Morpheus is looking for that basically takes full control of the program of the Matrix. You're like, oh, that sounds interesting. Basically a god within the program. So as soon as we see him stop the bullets in midair and drop them and look at them however he wants, it's like, oh shit, he's become the boss of the program. In this movie, it's like it's this weak ability he has, maybe.
Yeah.
But he can't fly.
He can't fly, yeah. Like, why can't he fly? Like,
why is he like the diet the one where it's like shit?
He's like launch day the one where like half the features are missing.
Yeah,
you know, like,
2042.
Yeah, you'll have to do some DLC to like get everything enabled.
See, it's allegorical.
He couldn't do it because he needed to have Trinity.
Meta and allegorical. See how smart we are? We're so smart.
Oh, dude, there'll be plenty of essays coming out about how incredibly smart this movie is, and I'll just be baffled by all of them.
Oh, and how we're just too dumb to understand the
I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
You didn't get the secret deep meaning.
Yeah, did Patrick Willems not cry his eyes out or something watching?
Yeah, I cried watching this, but it was that good. I have no.
What the fuck did you cry at in this movie?
is that a meme or did he really mean that?
He said that he was blown away by how good this movie was. When
I'm sure
everyone else I know was like, "What the fuck did I just watch?"
I'm sure Kevin Smith cried at it.
Kevin Smith probably cries when he takes a dump in the morning. Like, it's so fucking emotional.
Oh, who liked this, Mahler?
Patrick Willems and Movie Bob, by the way.
Oh, of course.
Did Movie Bob
He called me a
dislike
Nazi
Spider-Man?
about 2 weeks
by the way?
ago.
I think he was like annoyed that Spider-Man was successful. I think.
Right.
I'll have to have a look. Hang on.
It does seem like the kind of movie he would be pissed off at.
Yeah, well, you tend to aim for whatever he says, but the opposite. That's probably what's correct.
Yeah.
Fucking weird person, man. He cooks his chickens in Mountain Dew.
Oh, but it looks so appealing in the picture, Mahler. What are you talking about? Just a fucking plate of beige.
Why would you do that? It's so cruel.
Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew as well. It's perfect. It's not Pepsi. It's not like Coke or Fanta. It's Mountain Dew.
Yeah,
It's like the quintessential like gamer bro factor.
Who uses beer batter anymore?
it's,
No, just Mountain Dew batter.
do bad.
You gotta do batter, chicken.
On a special occasion, it's code red batter.
Snorts powdered sugar. Well, he's Diabito in his off time, which is a villain I think the Peeping Tom should take on.
Diabito for sure.
Yeah,
I completely agree with that. I'm looking for Movie Bob's Spider-Man.
Yeah, there we go. Neo is the one half.
Yeah,
pretty much.
It is kind of amusing as a thing, right? Half of the one. Because if there's two ones, you're half of one. It's like,
Yeah.
It feels like we're not
so
understanding
dumb.
what one means here.
It's just this fucking like childlike mentality of like, well, we can't have a boy be the one. We can't have him have all the powers. Like the girl has to have the powers too. It's like, doesn't that fuck up your whole like premise of your first three movies? Nah, just do it.
You know, it's not about their characters. Like, what does it matter which one is like the one if they're all characters and they've all got a role to play in the story?
Exactly, yeah. Like your I don't know, your strength as a character isn't defined by like how physically strong you are or how many powers you have. It's like it's how interesting you are and how strong-willed you are as a person. Like Trinity had that in spades. She wasn't the best fighter, but damn, she was willing to risk her life and sacrifice her life for Neo.
He said Hollywood's most awkward co-parenting exercise concludes in an overstuffed but by no means unsatisfying feature that's one part payoff machine for 20 years worth of Spider-Man history, one part two meta franchise management exercise. He's got a video if anyone would really like to watch it, but that's his view on Spider-Man, I guess.
I'm okay. I'm good.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. He seems bitter about it. Not sure why.
Well, I can see him being bitter about it because, like, I'm sure he's still raging that Joker did well.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure he's raging that Cuties didn't do well, and like, it's just that's his mentality, I suppose. That's why his YouTube channel's doing so well.
Let's see. I'm curious.
He called me a Nazi a couple weeks ago because I said the casting in that Resident Evil movie that just came out was awful.
I mean,
oh yeah.
Oh, that means I'm racist.
You are a bit of a Nazi. I mean, so am I. It's okay.
How did you find the Resident Evil movie, Flash?
Oh well, we're always looking for content over here.
Yeah.
Hey, there's no shortage right now. I don't have enough time to do Matrix and Hawkeye and fucking everything.
I saw I only saw the trailer and I thought like it looked. First off, it looks cheap. I haven't seen the movie, but it looks like somebody made it for $50.
I think you're being generous, to be honest, having seen it.
I want to just quickly read out. This is something Patrick Willems said, by the way, when someone said, I don't understand the hate this film is getting. He said, what I think is really funny is the movie spent a lot of its first act making jokes about what a lot of the people who hate it wanted it to be. You see, the film was making fun of us.
Oh, see, by giving the fans what they want, and then we subverted expectations, and then we got our asses trounced by a movie that gave people what they want. So,
I mean, yeah, it's fucking awkward to say this with no way
awkward. It's like
they're like, hi.
I don't know, but like if someone punched me in the face and then shit down my mouth, it's not like, well, you didn't want that, did you? Isn't that clever? It's like I'm fucking annoyed. Like, that's not what I want. No, I don't like when bad things happen.
Artistic integrity is subversion. Don't you know that? Like, it makes me edgy and cool.
Most of us
expected.
The irony here is most of us agree is like we didn't want another Matrix. It was fine.
Yeah.
Leave it alone.
There's no reason for it.
There's still only one Matrix film.
So how are you going to make fun of us for being the ones that are like, like, oh, I want to see a fourth one where there's even more bullet time. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, no one's asking for that.
Let's make a Matrix movie with no action.
Yeah.
Smart.
I just want to see a bunch of middle-aged actors trying to squeeze into like leather hot pants again and pretend like they're it's the year 2000 and they're kicking ass. No, don't want that from the Matrix.
We're getting it so much though. I mean, this is just like the Matrix is kind of boring compared to like, let's bring Luke back and make him a crying little bitch. Let's put Kingpin and Hawkeye in a show together, but they'll go fight girls and not each other. It's a great idea. We're so smart. We're Hollywood. Let's put Yennefer in it, and people kind of liked her. Some people did. Some people didn't. Let's not give her magic an entire season and watch her whine for 8 episodes. That's a great idea. That's fucking awesome. Hollywood's just like killing it right now. They're so good.
I think
Tom Roth.
What Yellowflash said probably like 50 minutes ago. It's just I've recircled back to it, which is it's like that small piece of lore that there was a civil war with the machines, that the humans were caught in the crossfire. It's like, that is a more interesting movie. Like,
that sounds great. Let's see that. I want to watch that movie.
Like Blade Runner 2049 with the replicants breaking off and starting a war, but they just kind of talked about it. That was more yeah.
That movie was absolutely constructed with a third one in mind, which will never happen.
Yep.
There's so much shit that they were trying to set up there, like the replicants being able to reproduce, Jared Leto with his fucking weird glowy eyes thing, just never goes anywhere.
It'd be like, which performance are you talking about? Sorry, out of 300.
Yeah, it's just like
oh, Matrix. It's gonna be forgotten. This will be a trivia question in a matter of a couple of years.
I'm really excited for the articles to come out and talk about how this is secretly a masterpiece and really just so awesome, belongs in some museum.
It is getting ripped. I mean, I've seen it getting pretty. It's getting ripped. Here, I haven't gone around.
Like the reviews aren't. It's not like one of those situations where the reviews are like 95% from the critics and 40% from the audience. It's pretty balanced at like 60% or something, isn't it? So it's like nobody really cares that much about it. It's just one of those films where everyone's just gone, meh, whatever, don't care.
It's been mentioned a few times, but where was the demand for a fourth Matrix film?
Yeah,
like, where was the demand for that? It's again, and it has been said before. It's like it's a series where a lot of people say there shouldn't have even been a second and third one, to then come back again. And also, just have the Wachowskis made like anything good since like the Matrix?
No, not
probably
really.
V for Vendetta was the last one.
Oh,
that was like 2005.
But they wrote that, right? They didn't direct that one. But I do like that movie.
And they adapted it. So
yeah, it came from a comic book.
Well, I'll give them that then. So it's like, okay, so it's like 15 years. Damn, that's a while.
Vulture's headline is The Matrix Resurrections is a messy, imperfect triumph.
Oh.
Of course, it's a triumph. Is it as big of a triumph as Shang-Chi, though? That's what I want to know.
Become such a meme. Triumph. It's like
Rolling
that's
Stone. I know. Rolling Stone, Matrix Resurrections reclaims the red pill.
No.
I don't understand that. What does that
wait,
mean?
that flies in the face of Tim Pool's. It's a conservative propaganda movie.
Tim really needs to stop talking about movies.
Tim Pool said Squid Game was communist propaganda, right? Like, it was...
I saw that. He's got a video on his IR channel, and I saw it pop up in my feed. I'm like, what?
Yeah, he said that Squid Game was critical of communism. It was like,
okay.
No, he's trying to play. See, that's Tim. He's trying to play some 4D chess. That's what he's. to do because he did that with Falcon and Winter Soldier too, and he brought that up in our interview. I'm like, no, it's woke. It was woke as hell. That show was woke.
You got to do better, Gary.
You do.
You've got to step up.
Dude, it's yeah.
Yeah, no future generation is going to look back on this film and think, yeah, that was a triumph. The messages of that movie were fantastic.
It's really impacted culture.
It's going straight into the memory hole. This one, no one's going to remember what this movie was in a week.
And that's the thing. I almost would wish it would be so spectacularly bad that like everyone hates it, but it just seems like forgettable now.
But I guess that might even achieve more of the effect of never getting another one again. If this movie comes out and nobody really cares, nobody goes watch it, and then it just sort of disappears out of the consciousness, and it's like, yeah, that was, we tried and nobody was interested. There were no bites, so
it does seem like
preferable.
That's what they're doing with a lot of franchises. Like, is this one we can tap? No. This one?
It
No. Ooh, yeah, we can tap this one. Sweet.
I think that's a problem with the attitude now, where it's like, you look at the MCU and it's like, man, I want that. Like, I want to be able to just release like 2 or 3 movies every year and just reliably do that. And it seems like there's nothing has ever, like, even like Star Wars kind of tried that and it didn't work, of like doing a movie every year. Yeah. And now they have to like heel turn, and it seems like TV is the way they're going for like Star Wars stuff now.
I'm serious, man. Like, had they not hired Rian Johnson, we could be living in a very different industry right now. Because like, if you had another Force Awakens type success where you just gave everybody what they wanted for Luke and et cetera, had them all get together, the thing that, like, if you just did all of the things, it would be very curious where Star Wars would be right now. I wonder if it would be dominating with the MCU.
I think it would. I think we'd be getting like a movie every year. Hell, maybe we'd reach the point where we're at 2 movies every year, because that seems to be. It's content. You need content out regularly in cinemas and on the streaming services. There's always got to be a steady stream of content. It feels really cynical now.
I hope he knows that Ryan crashed and burned one of the most popular IPs.
Surely they recognize that at this point. I mean, look at the results. Like, look what's happened.
And that's not to say Star Wars can't make money. It's that it makes a hell of a lot less money than it could have.
And that's, I mean, that's relevant to companies. Like, opportunity cost is a big thing. It's like, oh, yeah, hey, Rise of Skywalker made $1 billion. It's like, yeah, cool, but it should have made more than that.
Significantly less than a Spider-Man movie now. Like,
at this point, yeah.
I think for a lot of these, I think for a lot of these studios as well, like, the merchandising is enormous. Yep. Like the toys and shit that they should have sold from Star Wars. That would have been like probably more than the movies that they would make from that. But I think it crashed and burned, didn't it?
It did.
Well, I mean, who are you going to sell them to? Like, who's going to the store to get like a
you mean little boys don't want Rose Tico and
Captain Ray?
Or like Ray?
Admiral,
like, who's going to get
Admiral Holdo?
An Admiral Holdo figurine.
They did make one.
This is the fucking thing, right? That they don't count on. Is like, ultimately, like, it's going to be the mums and dads that are going to go out and buy their kids these gifts, and the dad's going to like watch films like The Last Jedi and be like, nah, I ain't buying toys for that shit. Like,
imagine you were to buy a kid the Admiral Holdo toy. You'd be like, what the fuck is this?
I picked it up in the bargain bin.
Can I get the Admiral Akbar toy? Nah, he's dead. He's dead and gone. You're not getting an
dead in the first Akbar 5 minutes.
Yeah. Can I get the Luke Skywalker that comes with the green alien titty milk? Like, just a giant udder next to him.
Which, by the way, was another favorite scene of Patrick Willems. As you can see, his taste is becoming very clear.
Wait, he likes the scene of him drinking the tit milk.
He loved it. It was fantastic.
Why? Now, please, why?
You have to go watch, I think it's EFAP like 3, where me and Wolf and Appabed are watching him say that. I can't remember what his reasoning was.
That's a take.
Yep.
I'll have to have.
I have rolled it, killed it.
I was thinking just like putting it in the microwave or something. Like, oh no, I don't know what happened. Fucking melted in sludge.
And then fucking have it slam into a wall and melt it.
What a terrible idea that whole movie was.
To sometimes be like, hey guys, remember how bad TLJ was? Oh
It
yeah.
was like you sometimes forget because it's so long ago that it just drifts back into your mind. It's like, oh yeah, that was hell.
It's been 4 years. 4 years and a few days, right?
It has. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a 4 years it's been.
Yeah, man. It's 4 years well spent.
I mean, this is it's always going to be remembered. It's going to go down in infamy as just one of those hilariously disastrous films that just killed an entire franchise. Like, damn. I mean, Ryan made his mark. I'll say that for him. He made his mark on the franchise.
It might have been like an Empire situation in that maybe they could have pulled it back if not for the fact that their next one was also a huge dud, the Solo movie.
Yeah.
I mean,
Lost money.
yeah.
Well, and that's
It's also a horrible movie as well.
Yeah, it was also shit.
It's pretty bad, but I mean, I think it's better than the sequel trilogy films.
To be fair, it shouldn't be too difficult to be better than them because all three of them are catastrophic.
Yeah, no, I guess it's just funny to think about that Solo is like better than the mainline sequel trilogy films. And
They had a whole bunch of
awful.
their own characters that were kind of. Well, I say that the sequel trilogy tried to do that. They just did terribly.
Well, they
Hey, it's
tried
all right.
and they gave up.
Right, Ryan's got a bunch more of Knives Out that he's making, so you know.
Yeah, Knives Out
he's-
2 and 3 guaranteed. Man, that is.
Yeah.
$400 million they gave him.
And this is the thing, we spent quite a bit of time talking about it because we did a watch through and then we broke it down afterwards. And the movie was kind of shit.
Oh, dude!
The more we talked about it,
Really
the more things we found that were wrong with it.
We'll be there for the second one. We'll do it together. It'll be great.
Well, great. It's a bit of a stretch.
No, because like I don't know, it feels like a lot of people just gave it a pass, and I was like, did you like listen to the shit that they say in that movie? Like none of it makes any fucking sense.
Yeah,
Well,
but she
I've never
throws up when
watched
she
it.
lies. You know, that's just
Well-
so innovative, Muller.
You know, Knives Out, the discourse on that reminds me of. Now, I don't know how much you guys remember about The Last of Us 2, the discourse when that came out, but I remember Muller and I watched a bunch of reviews for that game. And something that you will notice if you watch every single Last of Us 2 review, like the 5 to 10 minute ones that came out from like games journalist websites and those channels, they always, without fail, said, when you kill like an enemy NPC, sometimes their friends will call out their name. They all said that. Now in the game, it's kind of embarrassing. Like it as a system, it's kind of stupid. But the reason why they always said that was because that was something that was said in like one of the devlogs, like for the game before it came out. Like it was highlighted by Naughty Dog as a feature they'd put in. And when you remember the discourse for like Knives Out, everybody talked about how the main thing with that film was like, oh, it starts as like a whodunit. But then, like halfway through, it changes genre and becomes something totally different. And then at the end of the movie, it becomes like a whodunit again. Isn't that cool and interesting? But like the reason why everybody said that is because Ryan Johnson said that. It feels like the discourse a lot of the time now is like driven directly by what the creator said you're supposed to be thinking about, which feels weird to me. Like like a writer telling you what you're supposed to think about.
A lot of those game journalists, they'll get. I think they get a lot of talking points.
Yep.
From what they're supposed to say, and half of them don't even play the games on anything other than easy.
Well, you've got journalist mode now, haven't you, for games where it's just like everything's basically done for you.
Hat thing from Metal Gear Solid 5. Hey, you don't die. You only got 40 hours to beat this game. So get the chicken hat.
They probably cannibalize each other as well to a degree. Like
I think
they're like, oh, what is everyone saying is the pluses of this game that we can highlight too? It's like, the fucking people shout out each other's names when they're dying. There you go.
I absolutely think it's more of a thing of you recognize what other people are saying, and then you sort of are like, oh yeah, that is really cool. And then it's like, well, wait,
put in my video.
Is it really cool? Is it really? It just feels like the standard thing, right? You see what people are saying, and then you just sort of naturally converge on the same points that they are making.
Well, it's groupthink, isn't it? Because you like if you're a reviewer, if you're one of these people, then you don't want to go against the grain by saying something completely out there, because then you'll get mocked for being, wrong, essentially.
I'm seeing I feel like I'm seeing that for Raimi's upcoming Doctor Strange 2, right? But I'm like, I think people will be in for a rude awakening with how bad that could end up being. Like
Mhm.
people are like, it's gonna be great because it's Raimi. It's gonna be great. Raimi's behind the wheel on this one. It's gonna be awesome. Have you seen the trailer? It looks really cool. I'm just like, I don't know, guys.
Well-
We're dealing with a lot of variables here, and Doctor Strange's already a moron, and Wanda's gonna be in it. Like, whoa, we
It
got.
always feels like it feels really awkward because it feels like a lot of the time when people are talking about Raimi, they're specifically talking about Spider-Man 2, and like they're not even really talking about like every other film that he's made.
Well, don't
feels
worry
really
though.
weird.
American Chavez will save the day.
Raimi's America.
Everybody
Charlie.
wants to see.
We're,
right,
we're really,
Gary?
we're getting to the bottom of this barrel, and then we've dug beneath it. Like, as far as heroes and characters go, like now we're at the realms of like people that nobody gives a shit about.
And there's still characters out there that are iconic.
Yeah,
Like
you made a
Marvel's
Gary. I think you said it in your stream. You made a really good point. Like we're gonna get American Chavez before we even get Doctor Doom,
Yeah, Marvel's
You do-
villain.
Namor.
Hey man, you've had
Reed
2
Richards.
Doctor Dooms, okay? They did go well.
That is kind of funny to think about though, because it almost feels like, you know, like The Flash is about to get like a live action movie for the first time like next year. The Flash, like before, but meanwhile before that, like Harley Quinn got her own solo movie before he did. It always feels like that's weird. Feels like
Yeah.
he should have gotten one earlier because of how well known he is.
I
That
honestly
one
feel
turned
like
out well,
Harley,
didn't it? Fucking
Oh, yeah.
Harley Quinn.
Harley
The
Quinn, I
Fantabulous
feel like is more
Adventures of one
probably honestly more popular than the Flash at this point. What have they even
Well,
done with that character?
Well, I guess we'll do a different example, right? Shazam, even. It's like, it does feel weird that The Flash, it's taken so long. But meanwhile, we've had like 2 Ant-Man films,
Yeah,
you know,
here's the
like different universes, but still.
Here's the difference between Shazam, Green Lantern, Flash versus Harley Quinn. People like the idea of Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn has probably arguably 1 or 2 good stories from the comics that you can draw back on. Mad Love being one of them.
Oh yeah, that's great.
But they like the idea of her.
She's better with the Joker.
Yeah. But they've turned her into like this feminist icon, which that's not what she is. She is she loves the Joker. That's what's special about her. She likes her man, and he doesn't give a shit about her because he's the fucking Joker. But a lot of people like America Chavez has nothing from the books. This is a message character, a virtue signaling character that they fast tracked over like Namor, like he's one of the first 3 Marvel characters. Namor, technically the first mutant, unless they probably retconned that a million times by now. But like last time I was reading, that's the way it was.
Well, the rumor is Namor is in Black Panther 2, right?
Yeah,
That's when they're going to introduce him.
And they
Black
can't
Panther 2 already a nightmare in production.
It seems that way. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because like they've obviously lost Boseman, and is Shuri not like in a lot of hot water now because she's been
I'm
saying
pretty
all the
sure
wrong
she
things
is,
on
yeah.
set.
And no,
Yeah,
Yeah,
John
it's like-
Cheadle come out and try to cancel her.
Well,
So
yeah,
was
but
it like
they-
she had to get vaccinated to be able to travel to wherever she needed to film, and she doesn't want to. I think was another thing as well.
But
yeah, well then she suffered a convenient injury, which has apparently delayed the film by like 2 years or something. Like, you know, nobody gets injured that badly.
Well, and before
causes this-
any of that happened, I'm pretty sure the script has changed like 5. One of the actresses said she's been given like 5 different scripts for this movie so far.
and that makes me so nervous, and you keep hearing it with these Marvel. Like, hey, I showed up on the set of Doctor Strange 2, and I didn't even know what was happening today. It's like, really? Really?
Yeah, wasn't the quote from Benedict Cumberbatch said he doesn't
Yeah.
know what his character's arc even is.
Well, that's one of those ones where it's like, oh man,
That's really bad.
I don't like this new way that we make movies now, where it seems to be we're figuring it out as we go along, and nobody. I think the big thing, and I heard this recently, that apparently Vincent D'Onofrio said that like his Kingpin is the Kingpin from Daredevil, but he doesn't say it like that. He says that he approached it the same way. It's like, you don't even know? Like, they didn't tell you? Nobody knows like what's canon or not? What a weird way to make stories.
I feel like nobody has the balls to confirm it because they're waiting for someone else to.
They're
Like,
waiting for someone else, yeah.
like,
Probably
yeah,
don't
they
want people to go back and watch it so they can remember what a good show was.
That's the thing,
Well,
man. They
Daredevil
clearly
was
rely on.
great.
This is what it feels like. The MCU is this like train, but it's just slowly gone off the rails and ran itself into the ground. Now they're attaching these little like booster veins into it from other things that are good. It's like there is the Raimi films going in. Even the TASM films are going in. Now there's the
Wow.
Daredevil shows going in. It's like, oh, we got to keep the train alive.
Dude,
So we can
actually,
power up
like-
Shang-Chi.
Nostalgia.
Like more of a, yeah, definitely nostalgia bait.
Oh, it is. I mean, like you bring Kingpin into a freaking Hawkeye series where he's not even the star of his own series. Then it's going to be into an Echo series. Like the worst derivative character out there. I mean, she was fine in the comic books as like a Z-list, like wannabe Elektra Bullseye Daredevil mix. And like, who's going to watch this? Man, Echoes, that's going to bring the subs to Disney Plus.
Everyone's getting a fucking series now. Fucking Happy Hogan's going to get a series. Like,
I feel like it was
Finally.
what we realized with like Agatha, House of Darkness. It's like fuck. Like,
What the hell
man,
is that
Is she getting a show?
she is getting a show. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
just make it stop.
Michael Keaton
I'm like-
Batman's going to be in the Batgirl show on HBO
The
Max.
Batgirl film, right?
You know, I wonder, are they gonna?
It's a
I
film itself.
bet you they're
Yeah,
gonna
film.
just they're gonna repurpose Batman Beyond and do Batgirl.
Yep. Oh,
Batgirl Beyond. I'm calling it right now.
I think you're right, dude. I think you're right. Oh no,
Because he's just way too old. How old is Michael Keaton?
fucking
He's
old.
got
He's
to
in
push in
his
70.
60s, right?
Yeah.
Oh wait, is he? Oh goddamn, is he? I need to know.
I think he's late 60s.
Gotta be late. 60s.
He is 70. No, you're right, 70.
Okay, yeah.
He's 10 years younger than Harrison Ford and
Oh, like that Indy 5 needs to stop. Just
Why?
shut it
Yeah,
down. Save
and he's
yourselves
doing-
the trouble.
He's doing. I remember hearing that
Wait,
somewhere.
is he?
Yeah. So that's
No,
going to be
don't
even
tell me
more
that.
damage for Han Solo. Why not? Just add it on. Indy
mean-
5. Oof.
Why is he doing these things? Like, surely at his age, and he's been in like every movie ever. Like, he can't need the money.
But isn't he like incredibly eager to do more Indiana Jones? Isn't that like he didn't really want to do like Han Solo, but like he really is eager to keep doing Indiana Jones?
Is
It's
he?
weird.
I don't know
I
why.
always-
I can't imagine Harrison Ford being eager to do anything. He just seems bored as fuck with being
He does
alive.
seem a bit bored with everything. Yeah.
Grumping on it. Like, he just seems like a grumpy man.
Yeah, it's just like fucking retire, man. Like, you're 80 years old. Just go do. Just
Nobody will hold
I
it
got-
against you. all
I
right?
feel like
You've done
nobody
enough.
I mean, especially after the fourth Indiana Jones, nobody wants this fifth one.
yeah.
Nobody
no.
wants to see Grandpa Jones running around. And I feel like they're gonna. It's a time travel movie. I bet you they're gonna kill him or something.
Well, that's the rumor, is that he
Yeah.
gets blinked out of existence, and then Phoebe
Why-
Waller fuckface
given
has to take
given
over.
everything that Lucasfilm does, I believe it. I
Really?
bet you it's gonna happen. Yeah, kill him.
No.
Replace him with Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
So I don't know.
That's
Fuck. God
that's the
damn.
rumor. That's the rumor.
I hope not.
Insane.
I mean,
Oh.
I would just like to point out that Kathleen Kennedy is producer on this movie.
It's
You know,
something she would
draw
do.
your own conclusions.
It's something she would do.
Yeah, I think if this is potentially her last movie, her last big thing that she does before either moving on to a different position or retiring or whatever. And
Well,
I could
her contract
absolutely
was-
see her last move being to fucking destroy Indiana Jones and replace him with a basically a Ray.
Well, I
if-
guess they might be thinking about that from a franchise perspective, right? Because you know that you can't keep doing it with Harrison Ford like forever. So
Yeah.
if you can find a way to turn it into, because again, it does seem like that is the general goal now at a lot of studios is franchise. You know, like
Oh,
Fast
yeah.
and Furious. It's not just the series; it's the Fast saga now. So we can have spin-offs.
What
It's
a
like everything's got to be a franchise.
what a respectful way to pass the torch in an Indiana
What, to
Jones
kill
movie.
him.
To completely erase the original movie
Delete
that
it.
everybody loves.
You're right.
Well,
It's
they
even
know how
more
to do.
cool.
It's just how they do it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
this
that's
is
they
what
do.
Marvel does.
Right.
You know, it's like get rid of Black Widow, replace her with younger, cheaper Black Widow.
Cheap.
That's
That's it. It's
definitely
like
been the
Florence Pugh
case
is cheaper
for-
than Scarlett Johansson. Like, so yeah, we can just make a bunch of movies with her, and then when she gets too old or too expensive, well, fuck it, we'll just kill her off and find a new Black Widow.
Invent a whole family she didn't know she had. And we'll do a whole
Yeah.
movie with. Like, let's invent the next one.
That's what they're
That's
gonna
all it
do.
is.
That's what they're gonna do with Spider-Man after this third one. Tom Holland will be too expensive. Time to bring in Miles.
Yep. Well, he's got the Uncharted movies now, hasn't he?
Yep.
Man, I'm not looking forward to watching that
Yeah.
movie because I really like Uncharted, and I feel like I'm gonna hate it. It's gonna be painful.
He does not seem like the kind of guy you should cast as Nathan Drake.
No, I don't care. Nathan Fillion. I know that he's like 50. I don't care. Just he's perfect.
He was built for this. Give him.
Yeah, he was. I mean, because I wouldn't be surprised if, like, I'm pretty sure that Amy Hennig is like a fan of Firefly, and that was a big inspiration. Like, Nathan Drake kind of is just like very much him. Just get him to do it. Get Stephen Lang too, because he was in that project that they did for like the fan movie that they did.
Yeah.
As opposed to Mark Wahlberg. I don't see it. I'm sorry. I do not see that. I just don't.
Don't need to see this movie at all. It's not. I doubt it'll be good.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, but like, I get worried.
It's such a shame as well because the Uncharted games are just tailor-made to be turned into movies. They are just modern day Indiana Jones films.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great. They're really fun. And you know what? I actually really want more films like that. I want adventure movies. You know, if you told me like we're going to make another Mummy film, I'd be like, all right, cool. I'm on board with that. You know,
I agree.
Did you like the one with
Tom Cruise?
Tom Cruise.
No, I was thinking more of the Brendan Fraser style.
I don't. Could he do it? He's kind of put on a few pounds on him.
I think if you give him enough money, he'd lose the weight.
He's because he's in the Batgirl, right? He's in that film, so he's getting roles again.
Yeah, we honestly, I think there's a chance in hell that could be a chance that they're thinking about a Mummy 4 with him.
Well, maybe it'll be. It feels kind of funny, right? It's like Ghostbusters, like Afterlife. It's like, oh, you know, we tried to reboot and that didn't work, so we'll just like do just a flat out sequel. And they did that with a Mummy, like a reboot. Maybe they will bring him back.
Yeah, I mean,
that gets me nervous still. I don't know.
Oh man, it's just like there's so many things they could bring back and fuck up. It's just
that's not a good place to be in, though. It feels like really concerning.
I've measured it like yearly, but it's like Gremlins and Back to the Future. When are you going to do those two? Come on.
Wow, they're definitely bring Back to the Future again. Yeah, that's only.
I don't think something with Zemeckis. Yeah, I don't think they're allowed to do it. I think
he's
right.
Alive.
Yeah, while he's alive.
Yeah.
But he's eventually going to go, so who knows? Yes, someone's mentioned National Treasure here. Yeah, I mean, it's
kind of remaking National Treasure already?
No, I think it was more just like a modern day adventure movie, but like it was along those lines. It was kind of a low rent version where it's a lot of just like talking about American history and walking around old buildings. Like,
I think what you're thinking is probably what I'm thinking as well. It's like more of the pulpy, we're going on an adventure like to some crazy unknown place to
I think like the first Mummy would be a perfect example. You know, they're going to an exotic location, a cast of like colorful, interesting characters, lots of action scenes, lots of chase scenes, lots of gunplay, lots of good funny dialogue. You know, I think that was just like the quintessential modern day action movie. And I know it's like, 15, 20 years old now, but like the template is all there.
Yeah, that one was hyper inspired by like the 30s and 40s pulp, like adventure stuff. And I mean, Uncharted is kind of like a more modern rendition of that, like set in the modern day, but it's still like the same fundamental structure. And it'd be cool to have more of those because, there are a lot of superhero movies right now. And there aren't nearly as many just like action movies that you see, like big budget sort of action movies with a little bit of that, I guess, fantasy element to them. Yeah.
Someone pointed out there, something that needs a slow pan across a map with a dotted line moving across it. Yeah, exactly. That's what you want.
I missed that. I kind of missed that.
Yeah, just take your characters to a really interesting place that we maybe haven't seen too much, and just set your adventure there. Have them go through old ruins and traps and everything. It's great. It's easy to do.
I'm spending the next 2 days watching good stuff. I've watched enough crap in the last 48 hours. I need to cleanse my palate. Gonna watch some good Christmas movies. Scrooge.
Yeah.
Die Hard.
Die Hard. Hell yeah.
Gotta watch Die Hard. Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna do for the next 2 days. Some Doctor Who Christmas specials, some of the good ones. I can't wait.
What about? Do you guys think a lot of people argue on this? Do you think Batman Returns is a Christmas movie?
I see it that way. Yeah, I do.
Of course
Yeah,
it
I do
is.
too.
It's set in Christmas. It's got Christmas like and snow and everything.
There are
It's got
penguins.
Yeah.
Penguins. Penguins are from the southern hemisphere though. And
Oh
over
goddamn!
here,
Yeah. Good point.
It's
We
hot
get Christmas in both hemispheres.
No, I know, but we get Christmas and it's the opposite. It's warm and I don't like it as much. I don't want snow.
You hear a lot
Admit
of
it, Fringy. It's a lie. None of you celebrate Christmas in the southern hemisphere. You heathens!
yes,
It's a lie.
toilets go the wrong way, flush the wrong direction, and you don't celebrate Christmas.
Yeah. People mentioning Arcane there as well. That's one I could definitely recommend if you haven't seen it.
I still gotta see that one.
It's very good, very well
Keep
written.
hearing that.
Yeah, loved it. I loved the characters. The animation's absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, just a great fantasy show. And it's not, you get like 10 episodes out of it, so it's not like ridiculously long or anything. But yeah, I was gripped by it, especially towards the end.
I think not having seen it, but definitely will at some point. It seems like Arcane might set something that a lot of people have pointed out is that when you think of like adult animated Western animated like shows, it's always like comedy, and more specifically a lot of the time it's like very like raunchy, crude comedy a lot of the time, and that there aren't many Western adult animated shows that are like strictly serious or like strictly serialized or adventure or anything like that. So if that's what Arcane is, which is what I keep hearing, that might be interesting in terms of trends it will set for other shows. Like along those lines, maybe there'll be more that are trying to take inspiration from that, not strictly trying to be like a comedy.
Yeah,
It's tough because I feel like Japan has that on lockdown at this point.
They got a lot more, like adult shows that are not just trying to be comedies, like Family Guy. Like if it was like Family Guy is like what you think of when you think of just like Western adult, which is kind of a shame because there are like a lot of great Archer, Rick and Morty up until season 5, The Simpsons. There's a lot of good stuff there.
Venture Brothers.
Yeah, it's just more variety would be welcome, I think. So hopefully that's what I will watch it eventually. I'll get around to it.
Chat was asking me as well, would I recommend Midnight Mass? Yes, I very much enjoyed it. I thought it was a good show. Dealt with a lot of really interesting ideas, and it's a slow burn. Like if you're going into it expecting like a lot of stuff happening right off the bat, then it's not going to be like that. But like some of the monologues from the characters, I just thought they were absolutely gripping. Brilliant acting, well written dialogue, good character studies. I just thought it was a good show. Liked it.
I agree with you completely, except for the last episode.
There's definitely a few issues there, that's for sure.
Nevertheless, like it's always really. It's good to have someone like Mike Flanagan where you can sit there and be like, whatever you're making next, I'm going to be looking forward to because you just have like a handle on characters.
Yeah.
You're really good at this. You're really good at what you do.
Oh, did you guys see he on Twitter? So Rahul Kohli quote tweeted Jay because Jay said it'd be cool to see a Mike Flanagan Doctor Who episode. And he quote tweeted that saying same. And someone else said, wouldn't it be really cool to see the Vashta Narada directed and written by Mike Flanagan? And Mike Flanagan said, I'd love to do that.
Wouldn't it be great if Jay somehow managed to spark the events that got that to happen?
That would be great. But let's keep in mind that Peter Jackson was begging to direct a Doctor Who, and they never fucking got it together. They could never do it. He said, "Give me $1." It wouldn't even take money.
You're telling me that Peter Jackson said, I want to make Doctor Who, and they're like, nah, Chris Jim
Trust us, Chris Chibnall's gonna nail it.
He's the man.
The good news, I guess it could be good news, is Bad Wolf took over production. Bad Wolf got purchased by Sony, so Sony is technically making Doctor Who now.
So Spider-Man is going to enter the Doctor Who universe.
Do it, Sony.
Also, I saw Jodie Whittaker on a we have a cable company here, Cox Cable. So there's a Cox Cable van running, and there's freaking Jodie Whittaker staring me at the back of the van. I wanted to rear end this son of a bitch.
Someone in chat said like only Brits can make Doctor Who, and I'm like, I appreciate the sentiment, but shit, Chris Chibnall's a Brit. Like, look what happened.
I think the takeaway there is like not every Brit can make Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Yeah. New Zealand accent, Australia accent, British, yeah, all the same.
It's close enough.
Close enough for this one.
Australian
When
Doctor
is
Who.
when is Jodie's final episode scheduled for? Do we know when it's going to happen?
2 more. She's got 2 more, so it's going to be I believe we got a special and Easter and then next New Year's. So no.
Oh Christ, that long.
No,
So you still got a whole year then.
No, we got a New Year's special and then I think another New Year's special.
Good
and then
God.
skip it. Yeah, it's like 2023, the fall of 2023 when Doctor Who comes back with Russell T Davies.
They are really doing everything they can to spin this one out, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a long time.
Why?
Do you think Russell's just like I have no fucking idea how to fix this nonsense?
You know what?
I
If
need time.
he's spending that time working, then fine.
I guess that's a good thing, yeah. But I mean, it means that people who like Doctor Who have to wait a long time before, I guess, potentially good content.
Yeah.
Okay, no. So it's going to be festive special, and then it's happening in, I believe, the fall, and then there's no festive. Festive means they don't do Christmas specials anymore for Doctor Who.
I was about to say, what the fuck is festive special?
That's what they. I can't believe they're using.
Wait,
it's New Year's.
I see. Right.
That'll be the end of Jodie, right?
The end.
Yeah. So that's when she's
The
regenerating.
festive special.
Like
I
the
still
beat-
can't get over that.
Doctor Who does not want to say the word Christmas anymore unless they're selling old Christmas specials, but nothing new.
Even
I'm surprised
call
it's
it
not called the holiday special.
Yeah.
Oh fuck yeah, we did it at the same time.
The festive special. What is
Like
that?
Christmas
I
is
was like,
big
yeah.
here, so
For a
That
second, I
is-
was like, what are you even referring to? Like,
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm using their crappy language.
There we go. That's the festering special.
Special, yeah.
I would like the framing to be just like curiously asking the BBC, it's like, when will you stop, Jodie? What do you mean? It's like, what you mean when it hits the run end? It's like, yes, when does she stop?
When does she? Stop, please. Stop.
I will, because I've not given a fuck about the Flux. Not watched a single bit of it, but I might tune in for that final episode just to see how it pans out.
So I don't know much about Doctor Who, but Jay, I watched the final episode of Flux with Jay and Mauler, and it was like incomprehensible to me.
Gobbledygook. It was
Yeah.
gobbledygook. I mean, the show's dead. Like, it's going to take a miracle to bring it back. It's pretty freaking dead. Right when you were out, a drinker with your video, just right after the Timeless Children, it was done. Like, I know there's not everybody's a Doctor Who fan, but out of all the franchises that have been fucked, Doctor Who is the most fucked. Like, it's going to be very hard to come back when you go into the past and you change everything about the origin. It's like going back to Spider-Man's past and saying, "Oh no, it wasn't Ant-Man, Uncle Ben who found him. He came out of another dimension on another planet. He was actually a girl, but then they changed him into Peter Parker beforehand and sent him on his way." And there's a bunch of secret, it's stupid as fuck.
I agree with you, though I still think Game of Thrones is a contender. Like, if we look at the damage that season's done to it as an IP.
Well, Game of Thrones is dead. It went
That's
from
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like,
I
at
wouldn't
least
even-
Doctor Who's still going.
But
if somebody were to ask me, like,
fumes, though.
would you recommend Game of Thrones? I would say no, because of those last 2 seasons. Like, it ruined that whole.
It's
show
really
is ruined.
hard to enjoy the story when you know where it's going to lead to.
And I guess the litmus test for how much people care is that new spin-off that's coming out next year, right? How many people are going to watch that?
April. It's coming out in 4
mean-
months.
Right.
4 or 5 months.
If Game of Thrones didn't exist and that thing was coming out, I'm sure people would still have watched it. So, like, it'll still get some numbers, I imagine. But
Yeah, but compared, I guess, to
Not
like
gonna
Game of Thrones
We get
numbers.
18 million people watching it.
But like, yeah, like the fandom of the Game of Thrones, I think they're still going to be bitter checking it out. I I mean, the comment section will tell you something else if you look at the trailers for it, which did baffle me for a bit. Me and Gary have talked about that, but we'll see. We'll have to see.
No, but Doctor Who
But dragons, Mauler.
Yeah, dragons, man. Ooh.
Doctor was going for decades, and it always like brought in pretty solid numbers. And yeah, it's going right now, but it's microscopic what's left of it, the fandom. It's just crashed. If George finishes the books, there's that side. We know that's not happening. But
too busy writing everything else.
And doing every Elder Ring or whatever the
Elden
hell.
Ring, which I can't wait for, but I'm so excited for that game.
I don't know that.
It's just like anything to occupy his time so he doesn't have to write this fucking book.
He's like, I got to clean the toilet. Man, I got to get those cobwebs out of the ceiling.
Yeah.
Do you need me to
It's
write
like-
that instruction magazine or manual for your vacuum cleaner?
Dude, it's been 10 years since the last book, and I can't even describe like how into that book I was. So, and it leaves on the worst freaking cliffhanger. So poor Jon Snow is bleeding in the snow at Castle Black. We don't know if he's dead or not. If he just keeps him dead after 10 years, that's terrible.
See, beyond a certain point, it doesn't even become anticipation. It's more like parody.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, by then, like, whatever you produce is never going to make people happy because it's been so long since your last book came out.
If I told you guys TFA Part 4 is coming in 15 years, you'd be like, I don't know if I'm going to give a fuck about that then.
Yeah. Yeah, like, after having seen the TV show, like, there must be so many fans of his books that are just like, nah, fuck this, I'm out.
Yeah.
Just don't care now.
Probably, yeah.
His books weren't like New York Times bestsellers. They sold well, but they weren't like stratosphere until the show came out. Then they hit the stratosphere, and now they're going to be back down to just okay bestsellers. It's okay. He's got all his money. He's fine. He bought a choo-choo train. He's got a real freaking train. He's developing 5 HBO Game of Thrones spinoffs again,
which will never see the light of day.
And a game and wild card books. And I've heard terrible things about the Wheel of Time.
Oh God, I've heard terrible.
People keep asking me about this. I know fuck all about the books, so I could not compare it to that. And I just don't want to watch the show now because it seems like shit.
Well, I've heard that from people who like the books that it's really not good in that regard. But then also just that it's bad as an overall thing.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings, dude. Lord of the Rings.
Man, 465. Is that how much it costs? Like $400 million put to good use for that show.
So 250 million to get the rights just before they actually spend a penny on production.
Man,
cycle never ends. To be fair to Lord of the Rings, they've had a grace period now for a long time. They're lucky they got this far without someone destroying it with some new thing.
The Hobbit, the love triangle in the Hobbit's pretty close. That was
the Hobbit. The third Hobbit movie was really poo, but like I don't know. I feel like we're gonna get ruined in a whole new way with this show. I think
this is gonna redefine the whole like essence of what Lord of the Rings is. I think it's gonna be probably violent. It's gonna have sex in it. It's just gonna be. It's going to be like 2021 culture condensed into a Lord of the Rings framework. And it's just going to be disgusting.
A couple of hacks who used to work for Bad Reboot are going to go in with a team of postmodernist writers and fix all those things Tolkien got wrong about his own story that he wrote his entire life.
Yep.
Of course.
Yep.
I would genuinely love to go to that fucking Lord of the Rings convention where they were talking about like the queer representation in Gondor and like how everything's a metaphor for transgenderism and stuff. Like the mental gymnastics that must be required to make this work is just mind-boggling.
It really was. Those were papers. Like there was a scientific approach to them, which was awful. A scholarly approach to them, which was a joke.
Doesn't everybody want they them hobbits?
Yes.
I don't think so. Maybe I'm just out of touch.
Just before we go on, like I know Flash, you were messaging me just to let me know that you're sadly out of time this evening. But yeah, I just wanted to say, man, thank you for coming on. This is the first time I've had you on the open bar stream, so it's been great to have you here.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for the invite. It's great talking with all you guys, all you fine gentlemen.
Yeah,
Had a
man.
good time.
And for everyone in chat, like give Yellowflash Comics a look. I will put a link to his I will put a link to his channel in the description when I re-upload it.
Also, thanks for having me, man. It was great talking to you.
All right, thanks, buddy. Cheers for that.
See you guys.
Catch you later, dude.
Do you guys have time to look at a couple of super chats, perhaps?
Yeah, I can hang out for a
chill.
moment.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'll probably. I think I'll keep the stream going for another half hour or so, and then I'll probably finish up anyway. But I'll see how many I can get through in that time. All right, let's see what I got. Uber Geeks.
Just remember where you are when you finish for us on Sunday, okay?
I know, yeah. Well, it's fine. I can always replay it anyway. I remember the last time we did this, actually, I started reading through some of them. I was like, that one looks weirdly familiar, but that one doesn't. What the fuck happened to me that night? Yeah, anyway. Uber Geek says, so the Matrix Resurrections was a treat, but when you have Jessica Henwick, the amazing girl from Iron Fist starring, what do you expect?
Yeah, she ruins a lot of things. She was in Force Awakens. I believe she was in The Last Jedi too. She was also with one of the Sand Snakes in.
I thought I recognized her for that. Yeah, she was in an X-wing pilot who got blown up in Last Jedi, wasn't she?
No, so this is a funny story. I don't know if you guys know this, but she was a pilot in The Force Awakens. She doesn't show up in TLJ.
Oh yeah,
and apparently she asked Ryan why, and he said he thought he saw her die in The Force Awakens, and so that's why she doesn't turn up. It's like, nice.
It's like you didn't check her or anything. It's like, nah, I think she's dead.
It's funny as fuck. And yeah, her as the Sand Snakes were one of the worst sins of all of the
Are
Game
you
of Thrones
saying
shit.
Rianne Johnson got her mixed up with the other Asian woman?
Oh.
Oh no.
Oh no.
That's
Ryan's lawyers will be in touch shortly. The Outcast Creative says, wishing a Merry Christmas to Drinker, Mauler, and company from all of the 100+ actors at Outcast Creative. Your reviews made us smile in the darkness of 2021. God, it really feels like a fucking futuristic year, that 2021.
Yeah.
And it's still shit. Look forward to having you as our guests in 2022. Have a drink on us, sir. Thank you very much, Outcast Creative. Yeah, I'm glad we've kept you entertained a little bit. Wolf Vermillion. Gary, I just today bought my first hot toy. I do have a custom sculpture, but only one until now. Spider-Man with upgraded suit and Doc Ock tentacles. What do you think on this figure? Absolutely love the movie. Merry Christmas.
That is awesome figure. I've had a little Spider-Man fever myself lately, so but that good buy, good purchase. Hot toys, good stuff. You got a hot toy now, right? Don't you, Drinker? Didn't you pick up your first one? Wasn't that you?
An Iron Man, right?
I got an Iron Man, yeah. Az gave it to me. Fucking legend that he is. It's like, this thing was incredible, man. It's like completely articulated. It's made of actual metal. It comes with like a dozen batteries that you can put in for the arc reactor and stuff.
Everywhere. Yeah, it's great. Oh,
it's
great.
brilliant.
I got somebody sent me this in the PO box. I can't pull it out, but it's a Stan Lee from Guardians 2.
Oh, damn.
Cool. This is dope.
Wow.
Yeah, these things are cool. It's cool as
That's
hell.
I don't have many figurines, but the other day I found the Oswald the Lucky Rabbit like figurine with him standing behind like an old-timey camera. That was
that's
man
hell.
It was perfect. I was looking at other ones where they had Mickey Mouse. It's like, yeah, that's cool. But then when I saw Oswald, it's like, oh, that's fucking awesome. I want that one. They should do more with him. They should find a way to. Well, actually, you know what? That word come out of my mouth. It's like, nah, you know what? Maybe don't do anything. Just leave him alone. Leave him to the safety of the past.
Well, okay. Wasn't he involved in the rights? There was a weird rights issue. I don't know if Tom's still in the chat.
I think
the Batman show belonged to Fox. This is before Disney bought Fox. And Warner Brothers wanted access to the Batman 66 show, which they did not have the rights to forever. And they had to like three-way trade some rights for it or something like that. And that's how they were able to start producing Batman 66 stuff, because there was nothing for a long time of the Adam West Batman. And it had something to do with Disney. I can't remember though. So chat will probably. I did a lot of drugs in the 80s. Kind of has a bad effect on your brain.
Right stuff seems to get complicated when you look at things. It's just like
when you look at the kids and they're adults and you're like, you mix up their names and stuff. It's all right. Dementia will set in. It'll make for a fun YouTube channel in a little while though.
Making the same video over and over again. Joseph Snort says, this is for your Arcane video, convincing my spectacle friends into watching it. Now I get to geek out over the holidays with all my friends about one of the best animated shows ever. Thanks to you. Merry Christmas. Thank you very much, Joseph. And yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. It's always good when people take up some recommendations. Joshua Lovesque. Merry Christmas, Drinker, and you other fine gents, and thanks for your fantastic content. It's kept me entertained despite recent Hollywood shite. Cheers. Thank you very much, man.
Yeah.
What's that, man?
I was just saying Merry Christmas to the chatter guy.
All right. Jester of Roanoke says, Merry Christmas, Drinker. Zardoz happy hour when? Damn, Zardoz. Yeah.
That's an idea.
There's a movie. Talking
about that.
Sean Connery in an orange nappy. What more can you ask for?
Fucking man, like a man's man. He could walk around with a sniper and beat the shit out of you. Like it. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I would just, I'd love to know the screenwriting process behind that. It must have been wild, man.
Acid, mushrooms, and anything.
Yep. No, love it. James Kelly says, hey, Drinker, have you heard of the Star Wars video, What If Star Wars Episode 1 Was Good, by Belated Media? It'd be cool to hear your take on it one day. No, I haven't heard of that one. Have any of you guys heard of that?
Yeah.
I think I have.
Pretty sure I watched it back in the day.
That's the one that's got like the little illustrated stills, right, where he's working through it and then basically suggesting.
So yeah, he tries to alter the story of the prequels to make them like essentially great, I think.
Yeah, and then I think by the time you hit 2 and 3, we're talking like substantial changes. Like they're very different films because of the changes that were being made. It's interesting. I remember enjoying them.
Are they quite good changes? Like, does it actually improve the story?
So the problem is that I'm blanking on what the changes were, but I remember that a lot of them were more like character oriented in terms of, hey, if we're going to have Uncle Owen, let's give him more to do. So that so it'd be interesting to come back to, I think, because we for EFAP we did a Revenge of the Sith one, and when we were watching Revenge of the Sith, all we kept saying like over and over when we think about stuff that wasn't very good was like, man, there's a great idea here. Like there is a really great movie in this movie. It just needs some tweaks. So I don't know how much I'd want to change it as substantially, I guess.
Cool, man. James Kelly also said, John Boyega put out a reaction video to the first trailer for TFA. It was really fun to watch at the time, but now it just makes me sad.
Yep.
Yeah, damn, he's really turned against Disney. Rightly so, actually. I don't blame him one bit.
So awkward. Like, Oscar Isaac was so eager to be part of it. Then it's like, yeah, if I need a new house, I'll come back.
Yeah.
What happened? Well, we know what happened.
We know what happened.
Yeah, taking these like good actors and just fucking them over. James Kelly also says, and one more, thanks for what you do, Drinker and crew. Merry Christmas, and I'm going to go away now. Cough, BoJack Horseman, when? Yeah, another one to add to the list, I suppose. It's like I get so many recommendations. I've got a list like the length of my arm.
Yeah, same here. There's so many, like Arcane specifically. That's one that keeps getting recommended.
Yeah. The Craig Lee Lawrence Experience gave me a super sticker for £2. Thank you. Chucksenhausen. Oh man, I'm excited for this open bar, just like the excitement I have for Cobra Kai Season 4. I just pray, Drinker, you had the chance to watch the legendary trailer to get yourself amped for it. Yeah, I'm waiting for it, man. Season 4 is only a few days away now.
Yeah.
Should be good, hopefully.
I forgot that was that was the thing I forgot was coming out. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like right at the end of the month, so yeah, something to take us into January. It should hopefully make for a good happy hour or something, or at least an open bar.
Boba Fett's out in a week, isn't it? That's another one that's coming out at the end of this year.
Oh boy.
Yep. Skipping it. And I'll skip. I'll do all the Marvel garbage. You guys go get that Star Wars. You go get that Star Wars.
I want to watch the Andor show. I'm not interested in that.
Cassian.
I don't think anyone is. Who the fuck wants a Cassian Andor show?
Me. He's my favorite character.
I especially loved that time when he did that thing in that movie. I can't remember exactly what, but it was pretty cool.
That thing was pretty memorable.
Yeah, damn right.
He killed a guy.
He did.
He did. Yeah. And then he got killed by a guy. Oh my god, it's like poetry. It rhymes.
It rhymes. Yeah.
It's a pretty cool arc, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's the bitter irony of it as well. Mikey Gusler says Patrick Williams loved Matrix 4. Check out his Twitter. Yeah.
Well,
just crying his eyes out over it. Black Sun says watching Matrix 4 right now. Best one, Dark Souls 2 rules. Okay.
Yeah. No. Go on.
Lots of interesting takes there. Leo Fisher, lift your glasses. If ye be not drunk or drinking, be ye not Christmassy or merrying. Merry Christmas to Spidey, the Micron, Budgie, UK commies, and the sad Disneys. Merry Christmas to all ye. Hear ye, hear ye. Well, thanks very much, Leo Fisher. I appreciate that, man. Bird up. Happy Kringle and Merry New Year, Drinker. Thanks, mate. Jim, Merry Christmas, you magnificent drunkard. Thanks, dude. Jordan Edwardson, Merry Christmas, lads. RRTNZ says, Merry Christmas, Drinker. Nadolig Mauler. Mauler, you might have to translate that one. After the shiny gift of No Way Home, the piece of coal has arrived via the Matrix. Have one on me. True. Stone Cold's Beer Cooler says, Happy Festivus, you beautiful people. Hashtag tinsel is distancing. It is indeed. Sideburns, enjoyed EFAP 166 of the prequel arc Long Man.
Oh, well, I'm glad you did. There's a bit of a controversial one, that.
yeah, it seems that way.
What was your reaction like overall to it? Because I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
Do you mean
the
our
Plinkett one, wasn't it?
Yeah, we watched Plinkett's Revenge of the Sith video, which is a mixed bag. We thought it was really funny, and he made some good points, but some of the stuff he was saying was a bit off.
It's definitely like one of the, when it comes to like the videos that get covered, that's like super high up on the list of like, man, there's like plenty of good points here, and like the style and the comedy and everything is like really funny. But yeah, there was points that were a bit more iffy.
And were people on board with what you were saying, or were like you getting a lot of pushback on it?
It's controversial.
So this is the thing. You go against Revenge of the Sith, you piss off the prequel fans in your audience. You go against Red Letter Media, you'll piss off the people who are like anti-fans of the prequels. Like there was always people criticizing anything we said.
Mm-hmm.
We knew that going in. It was a controversial one. We did it anyway.
The odds were against us, but we did it anyway.
We're very brave.
Yeah. David, wouldn't you like to know, says, thanks to all of you for bringing me such joy, because you may not realize the positive impact you've all had on a person's life. Keep up the great work. And that's for $100. Thank you very much, man. And well, I'm glad we've entertained you a little bit. So thank you for that.
That's the fun part about all this.
Yeah. Mr. V says, okay, they just have to call the next one Spider-Man Home Alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do it.
I have to.
Will Meldman, I'm sure I'm not alone, but the Hawkeye finale was embarrassing. Happy holidays to this epic group of gents. I don't want to watch it. Don't want to watch Hawkeye.
I'm all over it. I wasted my time. Now I'm gonna go make it worth it. So I think it's a great exercise and a good learning opportunity of how Marvel is systematically deconstructing and destroying characters. And I don't know what their end game is, but it's going to be hilariously bad. Like when Marvel's rolls around, the Captain Marvel sequel that they changed the title of and demoted Brie and all that.
That is a terrible name for a movie, by the way. Marvel Studios, The Marvels. Not at all confusing.
Nope. Yeah.
They should have called it Marvelous Marvels. Just like
Marvel Studios, Marvelous Marvels.
Yeah.
Marbling.
It's going to have Captain Marvel and the other Captain Marvel and the Blue Marvel, and it's going to make $3.
Yeah. They'll be protected to the high heavens, guaranteed.
It will be.
Monkey Man 04 says, did anyone on the panel that saw Matrix 4 notice that none of the side characters died? Also, I didn't care about a single one of them.
Yeah.
It was really surprising that they all survived the fucking movie. It's like,
Yeah. It's like, do we really like them that much? Because, look back to the first one, when they were getting offed by Cypher. That was really wrenching and difficult to watch because you kind of liked them by that point, and they were just dying. Like there was nothing they can do to prevent it. They were just getting killed right in front of Trinity and Neo. It's pretty good scene. And it's like they just pull through. Everyone lives happily ever after in this movie. Trinity and Neo fly off into the sunset to start a new life together. Bleh.
Did they literally fly off into the sunset?
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah,
man.
Holding hands, I might add.
Oh my god!
I think there was a rainbow behind them as well. For sure.
God damn.
Oh man, it's like it was just whatever creative energy went into the first movie, it was just gone when this came along. Lyle Hammock says, I like No Way Home, but the changing the bad guys with science was absolutely stupid. Hail to all of you and keep up the good work. That is, I guess, a criticism that we've probably all noticed is like, with guys like Doc Ock, okay, I get that you can repair the sort of tentacle thing, and that was really the source of his conflict. They were trying to take control of his mind. But with someone like Electro, you take away his electricity powers, and like suddenly he's just a nice guy. After all that, it's like no, like it's not going to change his personality.
This means he's not going to be an antagonistic force when he goes back. That's all.
But he changed, didn't he?
The heroes have work to do.
So if you remember, Electro is a chill dude. He's just a normal guy, but he really likes having power. He saw the opportunity and took it, and then they took it away from him again. So he was back to being like, well, I'm tapped out. I ain't got no power.
I don't want power anymore.
No, not that I don't want it. We didn't have it.
Those villains, when they go back, there's still like work to be done. They're not like off the hook. At least I wouldn't say so.
Yeah. Well, I think
he didn't change. He just didn't have his power anymore, so he couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a funny one. Like he seemed to, I don't know. He seemed to just not even have the incentive, sorry, not incentive. Like he didn't even want to fight anymore. It wasn't just that he didn't have the physical means. He just didn't seem to even want to go after Spider-Man anymore. It was like, no, I'm a chill guy now.
He never wanted to go after Spider-Man. He just wanted more electricity, and he wanted to go back to his world once he had it. But obviously, once those two things are gone, there's nothing else to do. So he just sits down. I mean, he's just. I just don't know what else you would expect him to do, especially like as a normal dude. He's not going to attack Spider-Man, is he?
I mean, yeah, like a normal person would recognize. Yeah, there's no point in doing that. I'm not going to win. I think. Yeah, maybe that's. I guess what I'm driving at here is that like when you're saying that there's still work to do with all of them, I maybe didn't get that coming across quite as strongly as I might have liked.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
But yeah, I can totally get that. Like, they're not necessarily fixed in terms of their psyches now. But at least they've got a chance to go back and maybe turn their lives in a better direction. So
yeah, exactly.
I'm cool with that.
I think it's in line with, it's kind of like the Daredevil speech, right? It's always about like the chance for redemption, not specifically that they'll achieve it.
Yeah, no, that's cool. James Kelly said, No Way Home had some great action scenes and great character moments. Garfield saves MJ was very moving for me. Story had some weaknesses, but it allowed for the great character moments. I guess that would be a takeaway really for me, is that like a lot of these great character moments and payoffs will allow you to, or it smooths over some of the cracks, I suppose, in storytelling. But yeah, that was a good scene. I really liked that. Seeing what it meant to his character. Douglas Barton says Matrix 4 just pretends to outgrow its own and vastly superior source material. It was a bad movie. What were they thinking? Money, 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 money.
Yeah, that's it.
There's even a joke about that in the movie where Warner Brothers are forcing them to move ahead with a sequel, even though nobody wants to do it. It's like, that's a little bit too close to the bone, I think.
Yep.
But it's not worth anything to me. It's like, see, isn't that shit? It's like, yeah, as you're doing it, it's cool.
Bloodshot says Spider-Man No Way Home was great, but they ruined Doctor Strange as a character in the movie. Yeah, I think most people here would agree. Stone Cold's Beer Cooler. Watch Chris Evans be Johnny Storm in Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past him.
That would be weird.
Put it past him, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually brought back the original Fox Fantastic Four guys just for a cameo.
Noble Prince says, Hail all you gentlemen of culture and cinema. Real question, what's more above average, The Matrix 4 or Jeremy? Only Jeremy could answer that question, I suspect.
Jeremy's about as average as you can get.
Yeah, I'll give him that. I wouldn't probably describe Matrix 4 as above average, really.
Oh.
Corky Object says, Drinker and all, Merry Christmas. I have a question for everyone here when it comes to writing and characters. Can you make a villain too human? He's the main character of my fantasy story, but I don't know the do's and don'ts of writing. So, yeah, can you make a villain too human? I guess.
Yeah, what that means, really.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I assume he's meaning like too relatable or too sympathetic.
I mean, if the villain, if I'm understanding it correctly, the villain is like the POV character of the story, so it's like a story about the villain from his perspective.
Yeah, I think so.
And I mean, I wouldn't, I guess, because when I'm assuming too human, it means like too good, but I don't really know that it's that simple, I think. As long as we understand what he wants and it all sort of follows and makes sense, you can kind of basically do anything. At least I think so.
I mean, personally, I like the idea of villains that start out as heroes and get gradually turned down a darker path. Maybe they've just got a little flaw in their personality, and that flaw gets exploited by someone or circumstances, and exposes it, and it gradually takes them down a villainous path. I think that's an interesting thing to write about. So, from that point of view, I'm fine with it.
In the case of this question, I mean, I would say, because we can't really give specific advice because it's like a super chat, but it'd just be worthwhile for you to like follow through with that idea and explore it and see how it pans out. Like, just give it a try and see if you enjoy it and if you think it's working.
Yeah, so I'd say that's pretty good advice. Next one, Edwin Sparks says, Gary Spider-Man almost did join the Avengers early in the comics. The only reason he didn't was he was too moral to complete the task the Avengers set.
Yeah, he almost joined Fantastic Four, the Avengers. He was in, like, hung out with the New Warriors for a little while, but for the most part, and I think that's in response to Spider-Man's been solo most of his time, and that's a very Peter Parker thing to do. Is to he also doesn't have time for that shit, but but he had a whole team up book where he teamed up with superheroes for decades, so that took up his time.
Paul Tucker says, greetings from Las Vegas. In 2018, I found your channel in a very weird way. I was on a small website called Haphazard Stuff, which linked me to a Midnight's Edge video, which linked me to you. Awesome stuff. God damn, that's a convoluted trail, but I'm glad it worked. So, yeah, thank you very much, man. Striker24, I want Dilk in the next Spider-Man movie to mess with Peter.
Who, sorry?
Dilk. D-I-L-K.
Dilk.
I don't know what that is.
That sounds like a funny villain name, but
Dilk. Unless it's a typo, I don't know what he was meaning to say there.
oh, Silk it's supposed to be?
Silk.
Silk.
Silk. Yeah.
Possibly, yeah.
I don't care about Silk. I want to see Dilk.
Dilk, yeah.
The Silk. Silk's okay. I don't. I
Drink your Dilk. Dilk the During.
Dilk the During.
Yeah, oh, well, there we go. Green Dilk.
So many combos for Dilk. It's a very versatile noun.
I know.
The
It's a very
Dilk
respectable
man.
man, Dilk, you know?
Dilkster.
I've always trusted.
Sorry, the chat's coming in thick and fast with this shit. Anyway, badass name. Okay. Jeremiah Dobler says, Spider-Man No Way Home ending consequences. There are none. Redemption doesn't mean you don't get consequences. They go back, change, but still die in the end. Doc Ock is best example. Spider-Man 2 didn't explain how he overcame the AI tentacles. Now we know.
So the reason why it changes, we'll take them one at a time. Doc Ock was taken, he said, when he was strangling Spider-Man, which means we've got a decent chunk of time in the Raimi movie before the thing explodes. And even if it means he goes back to die, he gets to go back and be on his own terms for a little bit longer. I don't see that as a complete waste of time. And if you remember, fixing him first allowed him to help Peter make all the other cures. So I think that still works. Norman not being the Goblin, that means the fight with Spider-Man ends. He's not going to fight him if he's Norman.
Yep.
Electro, he said he was powering up. It's just like if he's not electric anymore, he'll just spawn as a guy and be like, oh, hey, Spider-Man, this is awkward. And then Lizard, he didn't even die in the Tazza movie, right?
No. So
and then you got Sandman, who, as far as I'm aware, will just be a person.
Well, yeah, he was never evil anyway, really, was he?
He just wanted to be daughter.
The only one that might still die, I guess, would be Doc Ock. But at the same time, I don't know that that's his decision to make if he still wants to sacrifice himself to stop the machine if he's run out of time, and at the same time, he helps save all those other people.
Striker 24 says Silk, not Dilk. There we go. He's clarified all. Big Doc says, I've been trying to send a joke about a bunch of white men not able to see Miles is the teacher of Peter because of woke reasons, but YouTube. Okay. Patient Elijah, hey Drinker, have you ever watched Avatar: The Last Airbender? Only the movie. And I'm still having therapy for that. Yeah, not good. Ryan Salazar says, huge fan of your work, Drinker. Keep doing what you're doing. Just wondered if you have seen Castlevania on Netflix. Would love to hear a review of it. Yeah, it's on my list of things to watch because a lot of people have said it's pretty damn good. So maybe over the holidays I'll watch it. I haven't seen it yet, though. I don't know if you guys have.
First couple of seasons, pretty good. I'll say that.
Cool. I'll do a couple more and then probably finish up. Yeah, TJ says, I want to thank you, Drinker, for your recommendation for Arcane League of Legends, my new favorite show, thanks to your video. Nice. Also loved Spider-Man. Going to see it again tomorrow. Love you all. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thanks, TJ. Sermonus Est says, Mauler, what are your thoughts on Rogue One?
I haven't seen it in so long now that I can't really say with confidence, but I'm pretty sure it's not good. I'm pretty sure it's bad. I just can't remember a lot of the plot, except the end, where everyone dies. Like, they needed to find Saul Guerrero because they need to find the dad because they need to find the plans, right? That's...
Save the dream!
Save the dream. Yeah, that part was fucking lame. But, you know, like, I can't remember fully, so I'd have to rewatch it. We'll do something on EFAP for that eventually, Rogue One.
Yeah, I don't know, the consensus seems to be it's like the least bad out of the Disney Star Wars movies.
That's what I think, anyway.
Yeah.
There was definitely some, like, I just remember the main character being really fucking boring. Like, she had no personality whatsoever, and I didn't really get why she was even invested in it particularly. Yeah, and
and then she could punch a stormtrooper, knock him out with her bare hands.
Yeah, and I remember like the editing being really clunky in the beginning, where you get like a flashback to something that literally happened 5 minutes ago.
That movie is quite chopped together, from what I understand. So yeah.
200 Watt Studio says favorite parts: Octavius and Toby having a moment, Zendaya being saved by Andrew and her asking him if he was okay when he started to cry, and Toby stopping Tom from killing Osborn. Perfect.
They were all moments where everyone was just staring at the screen. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, good moments. Nikki D says friendly reminder: Loki is still garbage. Agreed.
Yep.
I shudder to think how they'll ruin him further. Oh, they'll find a way. I'm sure there's a few more times he can get kicked in the balls.
Oh yeah,
that was just painful, that scene, and the fact that they had to keep doing it over and over again.
So funny, Drinkers. So funny.
Yeah, pathetic. And the fact that he's like begging like for it to stop. He's like, "Yes, I'm a horrible person. Just I hate me."
It's just the way I want to see Loki, you know.
You know what Hawkeye says to Kate Bishop at the end of the series? He says,
"She's a triumph.
You make me better."
I'm
sorry, this stuff keeps hitting because I'm like, is Loki worse than Hawkeye? I don't know now. I think Loki's still worse, but I think the finale of Hawkeye is the worst finale on Disney Plus. And I'm sorry to keep going to that. It's on my mind because, like, wow, it's such the polar opposite of Spider-Man. It's like Spider-Man makes this stuff look worse now, like a lot worse.
Yeah. The Matrix, honestly.
And the Matrix too. The Matrix is boring. God, it's boring.
It's very true here. Whenever you think they've reached the bottom, they find a way to dig deeper.
Yeah,
they really do. What's the next one? Super Awesome Space Paladin says Mahler's 3-hour video on Star Wars. What's this? What No Puss does to MF Lamau. I don't know what he's saying.
Oh, is he saying what no pussy does to a motherfucker that I made a 3-hour video? Because it's a popular one on Twitter. It's a very funny joke.
Okay, yeah. Because you made a long video. Bad.
People are intimidated by hardware because they're like, wait, I can't do that. What the fuck? I must have a small TV.
Yeah.
Just like, I mean, okay.
Noble Prince says, I saw Spider-Man the 18th on the 18th with a group of friends, and the whole theater was packed. We all cheered when Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire showed up. Yeah, it's good moments. And Zalakai says, any chance Shuma Gorath is the bad guy in Doctor Strange 2? I don't know.
I think
it seems like all signs point to Wanda.
All signs. Well, in the trailer, it points to Steven.
I wonder. You know, like
that too.
I think the problem is when you watch like enough movies and you've seen trailers, you can start like we see a lot of scenes of like Doctor Strange hanging out with Wong, hanging out with like it looks like Palmer and like America. It's like, where's Wanda? If she's meant to be on their team, where is she? It's makes you think.
So I'll say that'll be a villain in Doctor Strange, but not the villain in Doctor Strange. It's probably gonna be Wanda versus Doctor Strange because, I mean, we just seen a lot of dudes fighting girls. I mean, that's what happens at the end of Hawkeye. It's what happens in damn.
Well, unfortunately, they turn Wanda into a villain in WandaVision, and so now you have to commit to that. Like, you know, this is what you've done. You didn't have to do that.
I just say though, it does seem like she's going to be a villain separately from what she did in Westview.
It does.
Like they're going to be like, yeah, Westview, that's fine. You know, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
It's not fine. It's not.
I know it's nothing. You know, there's nothing more amusing than when they take villainous actions and try to frame them as heroic. You know, and that's kind of what you got in WandaVision. It's like, oh yeah, they'll never appreciate what you sacrificed for them. No,
you know, it's so amusing to me because the new South Park post-COVID the special, like the ending. Man, I wonder if I'm spoiling it, but like they literally have a moment in that with I'm not going to spoil it. A moment in that for a character where it is they'll never know what you sacrifice for them, but like unironically, and it's crazy to me that a little South Park special did that better than like a multi-million-dollar Marvel production of a heroic sacrifice that nobody actually acknowledges.
That special also made fun of Space Jam 2 over and over again. It was really funny.
Over and over, yeah.
As they well should.
Yeah.
No, that's. I was just kind of thinking. Hold on. Yeah. Hey, bought my plushie. Thank you, Trucker Mark. No, much appreciated, man. I think it's got like a day to go before it runs out. So if you're trying to get if you're trying to get a Critical Drinker plushie, then go for it. This is your time. But yeah, I think I'll probably like finish up there because I know that we've been going for like 3 hours now, and I think Gary's like kind of running out of time as well. So yeah, I will say to all of you gents, like it's been great to have you all on. Like, have you got anything coming up that you'd like to make us aware of? You got anything you want to plug?
Gary first, I guess.
What have you got, Gary?
Buy the Drinkers plushie. It's the last day. I'm serious. I'm taking 2 days to watch good Doctor Who Christmas specials, Christmas Vacation, Scrooge. It's a White Christmas. It's a Wonderful Life. I'm going to watch all that shit over the next 48 hours and eat a bunch of food and be lazy.
Yeah.
With my family.
Sounds good, man. I mean, it's pretty much the same for me. I know people have been asking me about a Matrix review. I'll probably wait until after Christmas because realistically, I just want to spend a couple of days just relaxing, spending time with like family and eating and drinking. Like,
yeah. What do you say about that film? Like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
A mess.
Yeah, it's going to take a bit of time to unpick. Like, hopefully you guys have gotten a flavor of our thoughts here when we've been breaking it down a little bit. But yeah, I will do a proper video for it, but it'll probably be like, I don't know, the 27th or the 28th or something. I'm going to, take a few days off probably. This is my last major thing on YouTube for a while. Yeah. That's what I got. What about Mauler and Fringy? You guys got anything? Any parting thoughts for the lovely people of chat?
You first. Go ahead.
Not. Oh well, I put a new video a couple of days ago on my channel. If you want to check it out, and if not, that's okay. I won't hold it against you. But thanks for having me on. It's fun.
No, it's been great to have you on, man. And yeah, I know this has been your first time on, so hopefully we'll get you on again sometime.
I totally be on that.
Nice one. And yeah, I just want to say thank you first of all to everyone who's super chatted. Obviously, we didn't get through all of them tonight, but as always, we'll do a catch-up stream, possibly on Sunday, and get through all of them then. Thank you to all my lovely mods who've done a great job just keeping the chat going. And thanks to everyone else in chat just for all the great Dilk jokes. They've been great. It's been worth it just for that.
12 angry Dilks.
Yeah. Was this one? Merry Dilkmas. Yeah, there we go.
Merry
You kept delaying, Mubes. What do you got?
Oh, really? Well, I don't actually have anything coming up. You got this Christmas Day. You got EFAP Movies Home Alone with Jay Longbone Moriarty, and that's bullshit. So it's finally coming out. It's a bit of all fun, but yeah, I'm still working on a bigger video, and there won't be an EFAP this Saturday because it's just too close to Christmas. You got your EFAP yesterday.
Dude, Saturday is Christmas.
Saturday is
doesn't get much closer than that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we decided we could have pre-recorded it to release then as well. I was thinking about doing that, releasing it on the day, but then I was like, does that make much sense? Because like a lot of people are gonna be so busy on Christmas. It's just like, why? I know it's cool to have it out on Christmas Day, but then again, I think I released one of my videos on Christmas Day before. I don't know if it's a good idea or not for people because they're usually busy.
I did. It did okay. New Year's Day is better.
I'm not even talking about like what's best for view count. I literally just mean if I'm annoying audiences or not, because they're like, I would rather watch this when I'm free, not when it's Christmas Day.
We'll always do that. That's well, you have all y'all guys over me have evergreen content, so they're gonna watch it. Whatever people are gonna watch.
You're an evergreen person.
Oh, thanks. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
man. Wait, all this goodwill to all men. It's great. It's very in keeping with the Christmas spirit. But yeah, like for all you guys watching this, yeah, I hope you all have a great Christmas and an awesome New Year. Like have some fun and relax and eat, drink, and be merry. And yeah, we'll all catch up with you in a few days, I suppose. But yeah, for the time being, that's all I've got for today. So go away.